Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture Curiosities, where Gabe and I get together and tell each other stories from pop culture that interest us. Today, we actually have a guest in the Fandom Non-Specific Time Machine.
Oh wait, can't we say it now because the strike is over?
Oh, we didn't stop saying it because of the strike. We just were saying it because it was a joke.
Copyright.
Because we started, well, not even that. We just started calling it the TARDIS, and then some people were calling it the DeLorean, and people were having arguments about which one it was. And Spencer actually uses both sounds in the sound effect when we go. It's two of them mixed together. So we just say it's whatever kind of time machine you prefer.
My bad.
No, you're good. But we have Andrew Shayde from 3 different reality shows. He's kind of a reality show veteran, if you will. So
and he's spent, I'm trying to think, because he spent 11 days on his first Naked Afraid challenge in South Africa, 12 on his second, and 21 on an abandoned island or uninhabited, deserted island. So he knows his stuff and he's gone through it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for you all to watch.
So we're gonna go back to I guess we'll go back to 2002 when he was first on the Amazing Race, and then just kind of cruise on our way up.
Exactly.
So flash warning. Woo! Here we go.
Whoa! Execute. So welcome everybody who is watching the podcast. This is the Andrew Shayde. I am dubbing him the light of Naked and Afraid because Joe Ortlip is the saint. You are the light of Naked and Afraid because of your bubbly personality and your very white teeth.
I'll take it.
And so, Andrew, I hope you're ready. I have a very long list of questions to ask you, and you can answer them as long or as short as you want.
You got it. That sounds fun to me. It's like a pop quiz.
Woo!
Yeah, but hopefully you studied, so you're not. So I'm not catching you too off guard.
I never studied when I was in school, so I sure don't study now.
Well, it's a pop quiz about him, so if anybody would be able to pass the pop quiz.
Well,
Tim.
Well, now Avery's putting the pressure on you, Andrew, because this is about you.
I was trying to be helpful.
A first out-of-the-box question. No one has ever asked you this before. Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself, and why haven't you monetized the fact that your last name is Shayde?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Kentucky. That's where I live now. I did move away for a while, but many, many years ago, 2002, I was on the 3rd season of The Amazing Race with my dad. We had seen a couple episodes and just thought, whoa, this is actually a really cool show, and applied and very quickly went through the casting process, almost a whirlwind. And my dad and I got to do that. Maybe, 18, 19 years went by, and I had met a couple people who had done Naked and Afraid, and they told me about their wild adventures out there living in the wild. And I was like, I would love to do that. I grew up camping and doing Boy Scouts and hunting and fishing with my dad. And so I applied for that and got a call within 2 days. And the casting process was also very fast. And almost in no time, I found myself on an airplane to South Africa. And I was like, what in the Sam hell have I done? What was I thinking? And I just had this thought over the ocean, what am I doing? This is not real life. And it was. And so I had one amazing adventure in South Africa. We were med-tapped early, something kind of beyond our control. And thankfully I got a call, hey, do you want to go do it again? And I did. And I actually ended up in South Africa for my second Naked and Afraid challenge, where it was the first time in 15 seasons that it was all men. It was all guys out there. 2 tribes of 2. I was with Christopher James, who's still one of my closest friends in the world. And on day 11, we met up. You got a shirt on. And then on day 11, we merged with another group of 2 boys. Danny and Anthony, who I adore. All four of us are super close, and had another amazing adventure. It was cut short. I was struggling from sleep deprivation. It was so cold at night, and it just, anyone, I don't care if you're the biggest, strongest Marine or a football player or the best survivalist in the world, if you're not sleeping, you're in big trouble. It messes with our brains, and no one can stop that. And that was happening to me because I was shivering so bad all night, and it just eventually emotionally took me out of the challenge. That combined with dehydration just whooped my butt. So I had to leave on day 12.
Yeah, that's good.
Got another phone call. We're putting together a wild group. We were originally called Wild Card Survivalists, to do a completely new spinoff called Naked and Afraid Castaways, and that's where 9 of us were chosen to go live on an island with no supplies this time, no knife, no fire starter, no pot, nothing, and try to make it 21 days, and I did. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. It was harder than my first 2 challenges by far, but I was so determined to finish it. I had been med tapped. I had chosen to tap, and the only third option left was to finish it and reach day 21, and I did, with a pretty amazing group of people. Not all of us made it, but 6 of the 9 of us did. And then it wasn't much long later, I saw on Twitter this little post that just said, "Do you and your close friends want to have a wild adventure?" I was like, I love my friends and I love wild adventures. So I was wine drunk on the couch, drinking, I don't know, Pinot Grigio or something. And I was like, me and my friends are pretty cool. I don't even remember what I said. It was just like 3 sentences about me and my friend group, friends that I've known for 15 years. And the next day I get a phone call on my cell phone. It says Los Angeles. And I'm like, oh, crap. If someone's calling me from Los Angeles, it's a show. So I started sweating. I was like, oh, God, what is this? What is that? I thought maybe it's another Naked Afraid. I don't know. So I answered the phone, and it was someone from casting for Buddy Games, which was CBS's brand new reality show that just finished several days ago, a couple weeks ago. And ended up on another whirlwind, ridiculous and fun adventure.
That's my new favorite story of how anybody's gotten cast on anything.
Just being wine drunk, my friends.
Yeah. Well, all my friends here tease me like, would you just sit at home and apply for reality shows? I'm like, what? Amazing Race and Naked and Afraid were 18 years apart. And then Buddy Games, yeah, you're right. That was just because I was wine drunk. That's how that happened. My friends didn't even know I had applied to them for the show. So when I got the call from that casting producer, she was like, okay. And we talked for 20 minutes, and she's like, now I'm going to call your friends. I said, wait. Let me call them real quick and tell them, because they have no idea I applied them for reality TV, and they're going to murder me. None of them actually wanted to do reality TV, and they just went through the application process to humor me, thinking we'll never make it. There's thousands of people applied for this show, and they're only choosing 6 teams out of thousands. And lo and behold, we freaking made it all the way.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, I enjoyed you guys so much on Buddy Games. The leopard print outfits, the tie-dye outfits, just I love, or after seeing you on Naked and Afraid, seeing you on Buddy Games and being like, look, it is week 2, everyone's behind, I have a strategy, I have the 2 teams that I have my allies, we have the people that we need to go against. Everyone else is just like, yay, we're having fun, and you're just like, no, this is a game.
Yeah. I came in with a different perception than everyone else on Buddy Games, and that was the fact that I had done a competition show like The Amazing Race. So I know what it feels like to be so excited, overwhelmed, to be meeting these new people who are cast because they're big, interesting personalities. So you just gravitate to this, I'm making friends. These people are so cool. And you get kind of blindsided that the thing you want to do out there is compete and win. And so I came into Buddy Games having lost The Amazing Race and knowing that I want to put everything I can into winning this, because these friendships are great. And if you make them, they can be very real and last the rest of your life. But I think I can make friends and also stay focused on winning. So one of the things when we first got into the lodge, I sat down Becca, Steven, and Summer, my teammates, and said, look, we cannot get the rose-colored glasses on and just think we're just here making friends and that's all we need to do. No, we also need to win. So we went straight into strategy mode. My teammates were like, we don't really no Survivor or Big Brother or these types of shows, so we don't really know how it works. And I was like, I worship these shows. I've been watching them for over 20 years. I've seen every season of Survivor more than once. So I was like, let me take the reins. And they're like, you got it. Yes, you take that part and just tell us what to do. And we get it. We understand. And I think that's why our team did so well.
Yeah, because, or you look at the Wikipedia and it's there are people who have like multiple times in Loser's Last Stand, and you're just like save, win, save. So it's just like to get that far without being in the bottom. That's amazing.
Yeah. When we, got off the school bus there at, Camp Buddy Games, so to speak, we looked around and there were really physical teams. There was a team of cowboys from Oklahoma. They were all very physically fit. We found out they've been playing sports their whole life and not even coach their kids' sports. They've gone to their gym most of their lives. We saw the Derby squad, these strong women from Los Angeles who play this very physical, competitive sport, even up to this day. These are true like athletes. And then we looked at our little team, Summer, who does not go to the gym, Becca, who does a little yoga, Steven, who I don't think goes to the gym. I go to the gym, but we felt very intimidated. I was a cheerleader, but that was 15 years ago. My other teammates had never really played sports. And so we were just intimidated as hell. And we were like, how the hell are we going to get to the finish line against these big boys who played football and whatever, and these Derby squad girls who are total badass? How do we have a shot to beat these people? Strategy. We got to use our brains over our brawn. And I would say, really, for the most part, it worked. I said from day one, but in Buddy Games, it's like, Team Oklahoma is going to win this whole thing. And so I started trying to get some muscle because we didn't have any. That's why I brought in Team Chicago, eventually brought in Team Philly, Philly Forever, because I thought we need a little bit more numbers. And we still couldn't do it. I called it on day one. Oklahoma is physically, they're just going to win their way to the end. And they sure did. And we couldn't stop them, but we sure did try.
Yeah, it was a very valiant effort on your part, and when in like episode 1, I remember Summer was having a talking head interview and was saying how when you did your little Survivor games, how you got first and Summer got second. And my first thought is, Summer's gonna strategize trying to get Andrew out, aren't they? I mean, just like, this is for Survivor, kick. But
yeah, revenge. Yeah, it was funny that they showed some footage during that interview with Summer talking about that Survivor game we played. The footage they showed was just our friend group playing it in a cabin on Mount Hood in Oregon, a game that I had organized. I was kind of the Jeff Probst, if you will. And we played that over the course of just a fun drinking buddies weekend. So we used to play buddy games for real, which I think is one of the reasons why our team, Team Pride, made it to the show and got cast, because we sent them all these pictures and videos. Like, we do buddy games, just like Josh Duhamel really did it. He's the creator and the host. He really did buddy games with his friends growing up. I was like, so did we. I was Josh Duhamel for my friend group, playing in all these goofy games, and we'd go to the beach and I'd have all these like puzzle in the sand and like goofy things, because I love Survivor and Amazing Race and these shows. So definitely spawned from that. And then all these years later, we are actually doing the real buddy games. And it's like, we've practiced for this for 15 years, you guys, let's do it, And so I think that's why we kind of ended up there.
So I feel like this could be like a little bit of your audition tape for Survivor, just kind of like, look, I have all this experience. Please cast me, Survivor. But
So I am such a Survivor fan. If you watch several moments between Naked and Afraid Castaways and Buddy Games, I literally paid homage in my own mind to Survivor a few times. One was toward the very end of Castaways. I started screaming at the island. I was like, I hate you, island. I want out of here. That was homage to a man named Shane who was on Survivor Exile Island 15 plus years ago. He had this big rant screaming. I was literally thought of him and then went into my own screaming. There was a part where on the first challenge of Buddy Games, I was trying to get across a balance beam with my team, and Josh was like, Pride's going very slow. And I yelled, can it, Josh? That was literally a quote from Jonathan Penner, who was in several seasons of Survivor. He yelled, can it, Probst? I said, can it, Josh? He said, can it, Jeff Probst? Jeff Probst, the host of Survivor. And so I was literally quoting Jonathan. And then when we finished one of our challenges, we stacked up all these glasses full of lake water. We had this incredible victory that guaranteed us a spot in the final 3. And I ran over and slammed the glasses they flew everywhere, and kind of my big celebration. And that was emulating Michelle from Survivor Co-Wrong, who built this big puzzle, won this important challenge that got her to the end, and she kicked it over. So there were literally moments in my mind I was like recreating Survivor moments. That's how nerdy, sad, and pathetic my fandom is.
Oh,
No, that's respectable. That's Survivor fan of all time behavior.
Yeah, there's people who watch Survivor watching this being like, yes, Survivor representation.
Yeah.
And I remember during like the commercials for the show, I think they showed you knocking over the glasses, and I think they were trying to make it look like you were like upset, but now knowing that you were like victory, it's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yep. When that first trailer came on that had me slamming those glasses, someone commented like, is that Andrew throwing a fit? Andrew doesn't throw fits. Like, that is not like you. I was like, I couldn't tell them. No, I'm not throwing a fit. I'm actually celebrating. I couldn't tell them that when it aired early. But what you don't see is when I slammed those glasses over, one of them flew over, and Yo from Team OK, one of the big Oklahoma boys, that glass flew over and hit him square in the mouth.
Oh,
and
no.
of course, he was fine, but it hurt him. And I had to apologize up and down. I am so sorry. Of course, he laughed about it. He's a big goofball. But yeah, literally right over, boom, to his mouth. And I was like, at least I'm glad they didn't show that on TV.
Gosh.
well, or that's when someone in the background should be like, sabotage.
I know,
Just trying to
like,
take him out.
Really make me look like a villain if I did it on purpose, trying to injure the other team.
You're just so positive that they're like, oh, we can't use this in Andrew's villain because he's just so nice and likable. Darn it.
The fans will hate us.
Exactly.
I kind of like watch buddy games. You always wonder, what they're going to show, that edit is a thing, whether we like it or not. And, I feel like some people thought I was this villain. I can't help but scroll some of the fan pages and Twitter, and some people were really nasty and like, oh, Andrew's pitting people against each other and forming alliances. And I'm like, do y'all not watch reality competition shows? This isn't the make friends game. There's money at the end of this, $200,000. There's a title at the end of this. I didn't make fun of anybody. I didn't cheat. I didn't break the rules. I didn't say anything nasty. I didn't cuss anybody out. But like, people still thought I was the worst thing that ever walked the earth. They said awful things about me and my team. But like, we're just playing a competition game. And I was like, if you can't handle an alliance on TV, do not watch Survivor, because that's all they do every season. Big Brother's the same way. Amazing Race, it happens. Like, I was just like, what? How is all of a sudden everyone thinks an alliance is the devil? It was the weirdest thing ever. I guess because it was like buddies. Like, you're supposed to be there making buddies. No, I came with my buddies. I already have my buddies. I'm here for the money.
I already have.
I did make great new friends, of course. But
I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, when I was watching it, and you were like the only one who's like strategy, so I could see why people are like, how dare he not have fun at the buddy games? This is for fun, but it's like there's money involved.
Right, I had tons of fun. I mean, they do show me hosting talk shows because we had no TV out there, no music. So I hosted talk shows multiple times. Sometimes I handed out camp superlatives when we got down to the final three. They showed a part of that. So I had a blast with everyone out there. But every time, like, I had any conversation about like, let's work together. Of course, it showed, and it was just like, that's all Andrew does is just sit around and strategize. No, I also goofed off and got wine drunk every night and made s'mores and danced, and I did all those things too.
Where was your fake computer and be like, guys, I'm wine drunk. I'm signing us up for another reality show. This is fine.
Yeah, I probably would have when I was out there if I had access to one.
Oh, yeah. Hey, excuse me, sir, the PA. Can I just borrow your phone real quick? Application for show. It's just like, no, yeah. Andrew, stop. No. So do you have any like favorite or least favorite challenges during the buddy games, or were you like everything was great?
Anything where we had to get in that pond, I did not like. That water was freezing cold. It was gross and dirty, and I'm used to taking afraid, so I wasn't so fearful of like dirty water, but it was just freezing cold. We were at a very high elevation where we filmed, almost twice as high as Denver. So a lot of the challenges, we'll get like 3 steps running in, and the entire cast is like because we were so high, the air up there was so thin. It makes us all look like we're completely out of shape, but it's just because it was literally hard to breathe there.
Gotcha. I remember going to Arizona for like help build, or for like Ace Americords, and like help build trails. This is great. And I'm just like, oh, this elevation, why? Work for 2 seconds and then your muscles are like, no.
Yeah.
But
it was,
yeah.
the weather was all over the place. Sorry, I took a bite of breakfast.
You're
Understood.
good.
Sorry.
I'm always eating
So,
on stream. I'm just like,
I'm so professional.
I get it.
I mean, I don't know. My jacket isn't very professional. It's very very well worn, so it's all good.
I'm wearing an oversized band hoodie, so I think we're good. We're all good.
Good.
Okay.
That's how I like it. But yeah, so any of the challenges in the water, I was like, oh, God, we got to swim or paddle or whatever. That was very scary. Hopping in the mud pit was a blast. The very first challenge, I don't know, yeah. That felt like me living a dream, getting to do a competition like that where you just get filthy and blah. Like, I love that. I thought that was fun.
Awesome. And so the way my questions are, I have like the out of the box ones and then like the reality show ones, but then we jumped into the reality show. So I'm just going to like shift back to like the out of the box and then like go back into the reality show stuff, if that's okay.
I'm ready. Let's
okay, awesome. I'm sure someone's like, narratively, this doesn't make any sense, but to them I say, I'm not a writer.
Right, and I'm eating breakfast here, so who cares?
Yeah. So I wanted to know, did you ever replace those dolls that you accidentally set on fire during that Facebook Live?
Oh my gosh, no, I didn't. So I made 2 Barbies, Ken and a Barbie, made them little satchels. I made them Naked and Afraid Barbies, made them their little necklace. And it was me and Elizabeth, my first partner, for my first ever time on Naked and Afraid. And I was in a live talking with fans and other people from the show. And it was on a bookshelf right behind me, like just now, if there was a bookshelf here. And I had candles lit just to make a cool background. And the girl Barbie, I don't know if she fell over or whatever, but she caught on fire. And the plastic was melting. And on my bookshelf, there's still a little spot of melted Barbie plastic where she died. Ken, Naked Afraid Ken is still alive and fine, but Barbie bit the dust. She is out of here.
Rest in peace, Barbie.
Oh,
Rest in peace, Barbie.
I'm sure Elizabeth is like, why is my Barbie representative melted? What are you trying to say, Andrew?
Right. Sorry, Elizabeth, you're dead, girl.
Oh, I really liked you two as partners because you're just like energy, and she's just like, I know what I'm doing, and you're just like, yeah, let's do it, and it's like, aw. This is great. I love it.
Yeah, she was great. My first partner, season 12. And she told me when we got there, I think it was the first night we'd hiked in and built shelter and started fire and all this. And that first night I was like, oh, I want to let you know I'm gay. And she goes, I knew. And I was like, when did you know? And she goes, when you spoke. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, she said in high school, a lot of her friends were gay, so she always tends to flock to the fun gay boys. I think that's part of the reason why we clicked so well.
That's good. Yeah, you had great energy, and that's always good during challenges because I know, unfortunately, Joe Ortlib cannot really say the same with his partner. So I'm happy when people work together, but the producers are like, we need some drama at times.
Yeah. I've been blessed for the most part. I've gotten along with all of my partners, season 12, season 15, and Castaways. Certainly Heather and I had some rough moments on Castaways, but for the most part, I feel like I've been really lucky with a lot of good people.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a shirt made that says, then do it, that could be sold, because that was, I'm sure there are, especially Sean, who probably jumped over, was like, yes, Andrew, tell her. But yeah,
that has been made into a GIF. Then do it. That quote, and I love using this. This will be the douchiest thing I say all day. I love using GIFs of myself to send to my friends because they also think it's very douchey, and that makes me think it's funny. I send GIFs of me from these shows saying silly things like, then my friend's like, I'll get us some wine, but I'll be late, or I'm going to get us a bottle of wine. I'm like, then do it. I'll send the GIF.
I think everybody's dream is to be a meme or a GIF, so
yeah,
I would do the same thing. That makes you feel better.
Who would want to be up on gifts? Yeah.
And the fact that you can people have like taken the time to like make these gifts of you, it's just like, hey, I'm using it. Someone put the time in to make this. I'm gonna send it to people. Then do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there could be like a cheerleading quote in there, or
yeah. I have friends that like text me to like, I looked up a GIF and I typed in eye roll and you popped up, and I'm like, you know.
Oh, I love in Castaways when. Or I think it might have been the time you were talking about when Heather was talking, you're just doing like the eyes to the side, like, what is she talking about?
Yeah, she was, we've been talking, we need a fire for 5 or 6 days at that point. She's like, you know what? I think we need fire. I'm like, no shit. What are you I know. That's all we've talked about for 5 straight days. Why are you talking about it again? That's really why that was like, what? Like, of course, duh.
What? I thought we needed like a 5-star resort and a swimming pool. What are you talking about? Fire.
I know. When producers for a regular season are like, Andrew, what survival item do you want to bring? I suggested a bouncy house. They said no to that. So I try to bring fun stuff, but it's usually ends up being a knife.
Oh. Well, you always have to keep a positive mental attitude out there. So, everyone's just like, oh, I'll bring a knife. I'll bring like a pot. And you're just like, bouncy house. Yeah. And you're just standing there all day.
I mean, come on. Bouncy house is automatic shelter. You just blow it up and go to sleep.
And you can have like a bicycle or something for the generator. So it's like, look, I'm putting in work too, right?
I try to think outside the box.
And that's why you were cast for Castaways. So that was good.
I guess so. Yeah. And when they asked me, they said, we're looking for some of the wild card survivalists to do Castaways. And I asked the casting producer, I was like, what do you mean by wild card survivalists? And he kind of like stuttered, well, like badass, but like unpredictable. I'm like, you mean drama, right? You want drama, Castaways. I know exactly what your Hollywood bullshit lingo is. You want the drama one.
Yep.
You're just like, I've been on like 5 other, or I've been on 3 total reality shows. You can't get this past me. I know your secrets.
I know how this works. That's the one thing that if you're ever on a TV show, you never look at TV the same way ever again. It will change everything that you think about edits and TV. And even when we got there to Buddy Games, a woman named Emer, who's one of the biggest producer in charge there, she said that to our team. She goes, you're going to have a great experience, have fun, be yourself, be loud, be wild, but you will never look at TV the same way again. And it is so true.
It's so true. We do, like, doing extra work even, we've been like, we can't watch TV with anybody anymore without being like, you see that edit? And everybody's like, stop, please stop. And I'm like, but do you see the edit?
Yeah. You'll pick up on things you never would. You're like, oh, did you hear her tone? Her tone tells you that was actually recorded 2 days ago, or like whatever. Yeah. Yep. And they don't lie about the outcome. The outcome of Buddy Games was real. The outcome of All My Naked Afraid's, legit. But like, they just have to tell the story in a way that makes sense. And so I get it, but.
Yeah, it's all about the storyline, all about the edit, and how people need to realize like the edit is like a specific view of a person. It's like you're looking at a tiny lens of one person when in reality it's like this big, but they can't fit everything into that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, of course. I mean, they have so many hours of footage, and they have to whittle down into 43 minutes if it's a 1 hour Naked Afraid episode or whatever. But the truth is they can't put on TV things you don't say or do. So a lot of people are like, I got a bad edit. Well, no, you acted like an idiot, so that's why you got a bad edit. If you don't act like an idiot, they can't show that. So that's there's truth behind the edit.
I'm sure there are some reality stars that are like, how dare you say the truth? But also I had a bad edit for throwing maybe 10 temper tantrums in 5 minutes, but that is neither here nor there.
Right.
And I'm also secretly like, I want to be on reality TV just to see what it's like, but I also don't because the edit. You never know.
Yeah.
Not everyone can have the Andrew Shayde edit of being amazing.
I just get there. I don't generally really freak out. I don't like yelling at people. That's not in my nature. Even my fight with Heather, I think if you really watch it, I wasn't yelling. I was still just talking in frustration, but I don't call names. I don't punch people. I don't break their supply. Like I don't never do any goofy thing like that. But I also will stand up for myself. And in that circumstance with Heather, I felt like I was standing up for me and Patrick. And later on, broke up a fight between two others. And at that point, I would just try to become the peacekeeper. I was like, "Y'all, we cannot lose our minds out here. We've got to stay focused and get off this damn island."
Yeah, I remember seeing the commercial, seeing you and being like, "Stop it, both of you." And I'm like, Andrew's yelling. What did they do?
Yeah. It was nuts. That was such a wild moment when that actually happened. I like kind of blacked out. It freaked me out to see two of my friends about to swing at each other. So I like ran over there because Boulent was just going to watch this fight happen. This was on Naked and Afraid Castaways. And Heather and Kara were so far away. They're just like, "Oh, these two stupid boys fighting." And I was like, "No, we cannot let this happen." So that's why I ran over there. I kind of like blacked out. So the whole like breaking them up, yelling at them, making them separate, I almost like don't even remember it. I like walked away and I was like, I don't even know what just happened. And then later I went to Kara, I was like, "But when I broke that fight up, did I look really butch?" And Kara goes, No, you definitely did not.
Oh my, I love Kara. I want to see you two like interact more. And I also love when Boulent was like, "Oh, you're or it's like, "Oh, you're just our island princess," and she's like, "I'm the queen," and I'm like, "Yes, Kara, you are the queen."
Yeah, Kara is fierce AF for sure in real life. We're great friends in real life, and we're out there. So she's wild. Yeah, she used to like bartend at a gay bar, so she soaked me up as her island bestie, and we had a great time.
Yeah, I like the little moments when near the end when you were doing like the arms up in the air and it's like, "We are getting off this island," and Karen and Heather are like, "Woo!"
Yeah, I did start to lose my mind by the end of the Castaways. I was losing my mind. I was like, "Wow." It was rough. It was a rough go. That was a hard one.
Yeah, I the fact that you all go in there and sometimes go back several times and it's like, "I'm gonna do 40 days, I'm gonna do 60 days." I'm just like, kudos to you all, because I can't imagine, and I will never imagine, because yeah. But
after each of my challenges, I was like, never doing that again. No. But then you get home, you eat some cheeseburgers, you have some stuffed crust pizza, a couple margaritas, you gotta get your weight back, and they like, "Oh man, I'll do one
How
more."
bad could it really be if I did it again?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and then you get out there on night one, the bugs are biting you, and you're like, "Damn it, what was I thinking? Why am I back out here?" Yeah. You remember like, this.
Yeah, I hope you take a break, because I think I'm getting my math correct. You did your redemption challenge, and then buddy games, and then Castaways all in less than a year, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you got, I really hope you take a little bit of a break, because then you got dengue fever after Castaways, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I filmed in different continents in July, December, and March. And then they all, started airing March, July, August, or something like that. So this past year has been bonkers. I had dengue fever from mosquito bites. Filming Castaways, was in the hospital for 4 days, shaking, shivering uncontrollably. It was awful. And my parents were like, "You are definitely not doing it again, because you almost died this time." And I was like, "Oh no, see, maybe."
Please take a break, Andrew. But anyway. But oh gosh, my questions are kind of all over the place. I'm like, oh, I have Naked and Afraid Castaways related questions, but I don't want to. But okay, so if there were to be a Naked and Afraid Castaways season 2, who would be some individuals that you would like to, or survivalists that you would like to see go back? And you can at max 9.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would love. We started on 3 boats, and I would want them to as well. I would like for these castaways to get on the boats, be driven to their spot, to jump off the boat and start the challenge. And then I want it revealed that the boat drivers are like me, Kara, and Boulent. And we would each give our own little like pep talk. Like mine would be like, you guys are going to do great. You're going to be awesome. Have fun. And Boulent's would be like, do not die or else you are a wuss. You know, like our hype speeches would be very different. And then we kick them off our boats. That's how I want season 2 to start. But who would I put on it? Oh my gosh, I don't know. Probably Christopher James. You know, my closest friends. He's very good. He's very ingenious with a lot of things. So I think not having supplies, he would be really good at coming up with ways to use the litter and the stuff that he finds on the island. I think Alex Maynard is a blast. How many people to choose from? I would like a lot of people that have only done, you know, a 21-day challenge, not the people that have been on 8 times. I want to see, you know, new people out there doing cool new things. Yeah, gosh, there's Zach Benton would be great. I think he's probably the hottest snake in a freighter ever. Maybe that's the sole reason why I'm picking that. He's straight, married, and he's awesome. And this is so hard.
I know Kel Michelle wants to go back to.
Yeah, lots of people, you know, would love to go back, and rightfully so. I need to watch the newest season. I think there's 3 episodes out for season 16. I haven't seen just yet, but I'll probably watch those this weekend and maybe even pick some of the really, really new people. It'd be fun.
Yeah, I know. I was looking at it and I was just like, oh, like 7 out of the I'm not looking at anything in my hand. The 7 out of the 9 survivalists were all on season 15. Boulent was the one with was the one who's been off the show the longest. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They were just like, hey, everyone who was just on, want to come back? This is great.
Yeah. What is, you know, trying to get new blood? There's, you know, something interesting about having some of the same people back multiple times, just because as audience members, we get to know them and get invested in them. But then there is eventually, I think at some point too, it's like, okay, but we need new blood. The thing that I love the most about Naked and Afraid is the people stories. It's not who can rub sticks together the quickest and get fired. That just doesn't interest me. That won't interest anyone for 16 seasons of a show. What keeps it so fresh and interesting is, one, of course, the amazing locations that they've gone to. Naked Afraid's filmed in over 35 different countries. But the people that are there that have a different experience, they're there for different reasons. You know, someone's a single mom and someone just lost their partner to cancer or whatever it is. Like, that's the part that I find interesting. You know, why would you want to go live in the wild for 21 days? What motivates them? What excites them? That's what I think is the cool part. And that's why I think I love seeing new people pop up.
Speaking of new people, I really wish I could have seen you and Rachel interact in the wild, because I feel like your positive energies would just combine, and then, you know, there'd be a giant light, and then, you know, everything's just perfect.
Yeah, she's great. We're friends in real life. Kara and I went to her house and watched her first 21-day challenge. Her real one. She did Naked and Afraid of Love, which was a dating spinoff.
Oh, yeah.
But then she did a real 21 days, and Kara and I went to her house and got to watch that with her. And so that was a lot of fun. And she's sweet and amazing. And her fiance's awesome. And her family's so great.
Oh, yeah. I was so sad when she jumped into the water and she's just like, I hurt my knee. And then for like an entire week, my knee kind of hurts. And then it's like she broke her fibia and tore her meniscus. And I'm just like,
yeah, and she stayed out there for like 6 more days with that broken. Like, that's how tough she is. Yeah. And I knew that it happened. Of course, I wasn't there. I didn't get to see her on the island while we were out there butt naked. But so when it showed that scene, I knew that she got hurt. And it was just made my stomach drop watching it happen. Because I was like, oh, dang it. Like, she would have made it to the end, no doubt, no matter what.
Yeah. Do you think that the producers should have like med tapped her if they're like, okay, it's been a week and her leg is still swollen, maybe she can't continue?
Yeah. I mean, you know, they're stuck in a hard spot because, you know, they kind of like, if it's not life threatening, then it's up to you. Now they'll pull you out if they feel like it's life threatening, as they should. So they try to kind of leave it up to her, because some people will also be really mad. Don't med tap me. I don't care if it's broken. I can keep going, which she did for 6 more days. So I don't think that they knew the severity of it. They couldn't. There's no x-ray machines that, you know, and the medics have. But I think they made the best decision they could. And but ultimately, we do have control of it, whether we stay or go. So.
Yeah, I made a joke in a video I made that I was like, if she was partnered with Jeff in during the first 21 days of Last One Standing, she would have been med tapped. But that's just me being shady. Anyway, so I'm just looking at my or going back to like partnerships of Naked and Afraid. If you were to go back to buddy games, but had to choose from your 9 partners from Naked and Afraid to join you on buddy games, which 3 would you prefer? And to remind the audience, your partners have been Elizabeth, Chris, Danny, Anthony, Patrick, Heather, Bulent, Kara, and Naeem.
Whoa. I would probably take Christopher James, Kara, and oh goodness, probably Patrick. Just because I feel like the trust level is really high with them. I feel like physically they could keep up and kick butt, but that's hard. I would love to have Naeem. Yeah, probably those. I'll stick with those.
Okay. The others are going to watch this and be like, but Andrew, why?
I know.
I can see Heather breaking the fourth wall and be like, why not me? And everyone's like, we know why. Anyway.
Gabe has started drama.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start drama. That's not my intention. And sorry, I'm just like trying to keep everything organized. And so I'll ask this question. How well do you think Josh Duhamel would do on Amazing Race, Naked and Afraid, and Buddy Games? Do you think he would, make it far, any of them complete the challenge? How well do you think Josh Duhamel would do?
I have no reason to suck up to him. I don't have to, but I actually think he would do really well. I think he's very physical. He's certainly in good shape. He's a nitty gritty, dirty guy, meaning he grew up in, I think, one of the Dakotas, and he's used to sports and physical stuff and rough and tumble. He jumped in the mud pit. He did all the challenges that we did as the test dummy. So I think he'd actually do great on those shows. And socially, he has great social skills. He's just a good guy. So I think he'd actually probably rock those.
If you had to choose between like a random partner for another Naked and Afraid challenge and Josh Duhamel, who would you choose?
Yeah, I would take Josh out there on Naked and Afraid just to see how he does, outside of the Hollywood world. See if that's made him soft, because he's been rough and tumble, but now he, lives a Hollywood life. But I will say most of Josh's friends are just his old buddies he grew up with. He's not one known to mix and mingle and be seen with all the A-listers. He's just kind of like, I've got my buddies from childhood. I'm good.
Awesome. So, going back to the out-of-the-box questions, would you rather be a character in a slasher film or in a creature feature featuring dinosaurs? And what would be your strategies to making it to the end?
Would love to do both of those because I love slasher films and I love everything dinosaur, but probably dinosaur just so I can at least see dinosaurs. I want to be the final girl, obviously, so I want to survive. My strategy, gosh, I don't know. I'd have to see what dinosaurs I'm up against. My strategy for surviving a slasher would be run down the road toward the city and just don't stop running because the killer won't be able to catch you. That's right. Isn't that what everyone thinks? Like on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, why don't you go up to the road and just start walking one way and never stop?
Yeah.
They're like, no, let's go back in the house and hide. No, don't go back in the house, you moron. What are you doing?
Yeah, like the Geico commercial. It's like, let's hide behind the chainsaws, not get in the running car.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah, but I'm just imagining it's just like you're running down the road like on a nice jog, being like hearing the screams of your companions, just being like, oh, sorry for them. But then slasher films, they always have to like get you upset. So I can just imagine you're running and then like out of nowhere the slasher just like steps into frame and you like run into them and you're like, how did you get here? And there's just silence and you're like, guess I better run the other way. But
yeah, I love Walking Dead. Love it. I just finished all 11 seasons and now I've started the spinoffs. And they do that all the time. They're like walking through the woods, and all of a sudden there's zombie right here. I'm like, the woods are not that thick. How did you not see the zombie walking toward you from 40 yards away? Like, oh, it's all of a sudden their big surprise. I'm like, or they'll be like driving down the road and, oh, there's a zombie in the road, and they wreck. And I'm like,
Lori,
you know to watch for zombies while you're driving. Like, come on, like.
Yeah, the one zombie in the road and you flip your car. Like, this is why people don't.
They flip the car. Every time they flip the car.
And it's just, and then the car never starts when you want it to. And I'm just like,
right.
I'm just imagining a slasher movie where someone's trying to start and the person next to them is just like, no, you're turning it too fast. That's why it's not working. It just, starts up. Okay, everything's fine now.
That's the writers. Like, come on, writers, y'all know better.
Yeah,
like I got an idea. We'll flip the car. Like, that's never been done.
So original.
Yeah, I know how. I think in Scream, how they're playing around with the fact that there's smart technology and people have cell phones. So how do we like work around it so it can like be like realistic-ish? Like I remember in Scream, one of the screens where like someone's smart lock kept getting unlocked and the person's trying to lock it, and it's just like, oh, they're right behind you or something like that.
Yeah.
So
I think the most recent slasher movie I saw was Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I'm not over it though, so anyway, that's off topic.
Is it good? I saw the trailer. Is it good?
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's clearly like they made it on a very small budget, which honestly, good for them. It's a lot. It's a lot. My favorite line from it is Christopher Robin saying, "Pooh, there's something wrong with Piglet. He just killed my wife."
Oh, the writers. Good job, writers, on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's a part where there's like the TikTok Instagram model that's in the hot tub that clearly sees the slasher in the background, but is like, oh, well, it must have been a trick of the lighting, and goes back into the hot tub and then gets got. And it's just like, but why though?
Yeah, that's why she's not a final girl. Nope.
No.
Yep, you're just like, I need the checklist. I've seen Cabin in the Woods. I know what I have to do. Sorry, no love interest for me in the next hour and a half.
Yeah, I would definitely survive a slasher movie just because common sense. I'm like, no, we're not hiding in the shed with the pitchfork. Like, we're not, like the basic, come on, dude, come on.
Yeah.
And now I'm just imagining you're in a Jurassic World film and Chris Pratt is there and he's like, come on, guys, I got this. And you're just like, no, follow me. We'll do this.
Yeah. In Jurassic World, they're like, let's release the Velociraptors. They'll help us. I'm like, no, what? No, what? That's some dumb white people shit. That's what that is.
I love that quote when you're like, that's some dumb straight people crap. When Patrick is like, I have a dull knife. I'll get this saltwater crocodile.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'll jump on him and stab him. I'm like, that's not how that works, Patrick. Of course, when I said, Patrick's great. He knew, when I was like, that's some dumb straight people shit. I'm not doing that. He knew I was, being silly. But I was also like, if you come up with a good plan and we have the right equipment, I'm down. Let's do it. But no, I'm not going to try to jump and stab.
This is why you're
saltwater
the final.
Saltwater crocodiles are super aggressive. Like, there's like caiman. Caiman are skittish. You walk anywhere near a caiman, boom, they're gone. But saltwater crocodiles, like, come on, mother, let's do this. Like he's ready. He is ready to eat you at all times.
Well, I'm just imagining Amber popping out of nowhere because on her first challenge, she's like, Ryan, let's catch this alligator with nothing. And he's like, no. And she's like, you P word. And he's just like, okay.
I know.
And this is why you'd be the final guy, because you're like, let's not try to jump the slasher / dinosaur.
Yeah, let's do this smart. That's part of being a survivalist, is not just jumping on an alligator like Amber wanted to, doing it the smart way. How do we do this so that we stay safe? That is part of survivalism.
Exactly.
But a lot of people just want to look badass on TV and they don't care about that. I'm like, but this is my life and my body. And yeah, I do fear that the day will come that someone dies filming naked and afraid. It is very dangerous. It does really crazy things to your body. And I fear that that day will come. I feel like we've all been spoiled, so we don't expect it to ever happen because now we're 16 seasons in, and but it's scary. I mean, I know what it feels like out there, how your body changes, how you stand up and almost pass out or do pass out, which has happened many times to people, because it's brutal. And I feel like some people would get out there and they're like, I didn't know it was going to be this hard. I'm like, did you not watch the first 16 seasons where everybody's talking about this is so much harder than I thought it was going to be? Like, come on, y'all.
I wonder if they're producers and they have cards in the air and they're like, say this line, or you're gonna have to do this talking head interview, and it's this is harder than I thought it was, or protein, this is a game changer. I'm gonna make Mother Nature my B word.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. There's no cue cards, but a lot of times, you think back to the episodes that you've seen before. And what people have said, like, well, that's true. This is harder than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that's why you've seen Marines, the toughest of the tough, tap out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember Joe on the Beauty and the Beasties episode was talking to Candace, and he's like, look, day 4 to 6, there's going to be hormones that are going to be flooding your body, and they're going to say, get out, but you need to get over that hurdle. And once you get over that, then you'll be fine. And that's why we see a lot of survivalists tap day 4 to 6, because they're just flooded with.
Yeah.
I can't remember which hormone.
That's totally true. The 4 to 6 numbers. That's when your body is officially depleted from things. It goes into panic mode. Your body starts to fight or flight. It says, something's wrong. We're not getting the food and nourishment that we need. We're dehydrated. Get out of this environment. It's dangerous. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. That's it evolved inside of us. So yeah, you're right. That is when most people tap between days 4 and 6. If you get over that hurdle, you can kind of get used to feeling that. My biggest struggle is always like day 12. That's always when my body panics the most, which is why I tapped out in South Africa my second time, and the sleep deprivation, and it was awful. But yeah, that's the day 4 to 6. That is the roughest spot.
Yes, I feel like there should be some of the survivalists should do like coach a class and be like, look, day 4 to 6, it's gonna be terrible. Think happy thoughts. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. I feel like it's talked about a lot, so a lot of people kind of know that those days are coming. When you get out there, you're like, oh, it's 4 to 6. Which has made me very competitive on those days. I'm like, I'm not going to whine days 4 and 6. I'm going to push right through. And I did.
And then you trekked or I thought it was kind of shady how, well, I don't know if it was shady, but your group was almost really far south, because on the island on Castaways, they had to get to the northernmost part of the island, set a signal fire and go. And your team was the farthest south. So you had to trek all the way across that island. Ooh. And I'm just I'm just I feel, or this is probably wrong, but I feel like the producers were just we're gonna pair up Andrew and Heather, and we're gonna put him at the southernmost part of the island. Mwahaha. But he'll do just fine because he's the light of Naked and Afraid. Or I don't know, but I was just that's interesting.
Yeah, we were the furthest. That was 100% legit, very real. Which is why our team moved the most. I mean, we were constantly on the move. Our first location was just full of black palm, which is these thin trees covered in these needle thin thorns. They were awful. They were all over the ground too, because we're barefoot. And eventually, we've got to get out of here. It was super humid where we were. The canopy was so thick we couldn't use the sun or heat to dry out any wood or help us with any kind of other fire that we could possibly do using glass or mirrors. So eventually, we've got to get out of here. That's when we moved to the beach. The beach was great for a few days, but the tide was rising every day, and eventually came into our camp at 2 a.m. in the darkness. It was terrifying. These big, huge, scary waves, and we're got to move again because that salt water got up into our fresh water and ruined it. So we had no fresh water there. So time to move. So we always had a reason to just kind of keep hopping, and we did.
Yeah. And, the other teams are oh, we're only 2 miles away from the northernmost point, and you're in the background just oh, must be nice. Thanks, guys. Okay, going back to my questions, which are very out of order. So, okay, going back to another out of the box question. If you were to live in a comic book/anime world, which would you want to live in? because I know you write comic books and you're a writer, and so I could see you like being like this world because of this. So if there were any that you could choose from, which would you like to live in?
I'm a huge Marvel fan, so it'd be fun to live in the Marvel world if I had superpowers. Like if I'm just a citizen, I don't know that I'd want villains destroying my city all the time.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah.
Narnia would be amazing because I could have talking animal friends. So I'm gonna go with Narnia. Yeah.
Just visit Mr. Tumnus every once in a while, like, oh, hello, Mr. Tumnus, at the light pole. This is how are you doing today?
That'd be so fun. Like, oh, my neighbors are rabbits, and they're so sweet. They're bringing over pot roast tonight. You're like, that'd be so fun.
Yeah.
Pot roast. Oh no, my other neighbors, are they okay?
my cow neighbors next door, they've been murdered.
Just rabbits in media, it's just like, oh, they're just like, look at these cute little things. No, and media's just like, they're. I'm just thinking of.
I guess if I lived in Narnia, I'd have to be a vegetarian if I lived in Narnia, I guess.
Yeah, you'd kind of feel guilty every time you talk to your neighbors. If not, I guess.
I have this great dish that I just got. Oh,
that was your cousin. Oh, my bad.
Did you like this, cousin? Oh, you didn't. Okay, here's this great dish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I'm just imagining you pick like a fruit in the tree and being like, ow, and you're like, oh no.
I hurt the tree. No.
So if you were to have a superpower, what superpower would you want, and what would be your dramatic backstory into getting said power?
There in the Marvel world, there's a couple of teleporters. Nightcrawler was my favorite as a kid, but Nightcrawler can only teleport where he can see, so he's very limited. But there's also Blink, who's a character. She was seen in Days of Future Past in the movie. But is a much bigger character in the comics, and she can teleport anywhere and take people kind of through her portal that she sets. So I think I would want Blink's power, because she'd be like, you know what, I kind of just want to like lay on the beach in Ibiza today and get drunk. Boop, boop, take your friends, you're there, you're in Ibiza, like in 5 seconds, and you can just, zap home when you're done. That's a pretty rad power. You wouldn't need a car, you would never need to fly, you don't have to pay for gas, no car insurance. Like, oh, do you want to, you haven't seen the pyramids of Giza? Oh my gosh, watch this. Boom, and you're just there. Like, how cool would that be?
Yeah, Blink is such a queen.
We love She's a queen, total queen. Kind of reminds me of that movie Jumper with Hayden Christensen, where he could teleport anywhere in the world. I was like, oh, what a cool power. Was that the whole question? Did I miss something? Oh, how did I get the power? It's got to be something cool, like struck by lightning, or something cool. Bit by a radioactive squirrel. I don't know what that would be. Or maybe I'm just a mutant and I didn't know I could do it until I fell off a cliff and teleported to safety. And that's when I learned I had this mutant ability. I'll stick with that. How about?
Okay. Now I'm just imagining like, oh, but we have to make it dramatic. You were being bullied and there was this one person who chased you to the edge of the cliff and the side of the cliff broke off and you're falling. And then the bully like goes through a growth moment because they're like, oh, I really messed up here. And then they become your best friend. And then they tragically perish, and then they come back.
You should be writing comic books. You got the stories.
Yes, but I'm also very scatterbrained. So it's like I have an idea, and then I look back at what I wrote, and I'm just like, what is happening? I don't understand.
Most comic book writers have scatterbrains, so I think you should consider it.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, what I do is when I'm bored on set, when I'm doing background work, is I have these cards and I literally just find a topic and I just write like, you're amazing. You're so cool. Velociraptors would be your best friends. and I write stuff like that and people are like them, but it's just so many words. And I'm just like, where
are y'all from? Where is y'all's home base?
Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia, yeah.
Oh, y'all need to be extras in Walking Dead. Goodness sakes.
We
have been.
We were.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No
and
way.
Our best friend Natasha was she was a photo double for what was the character's name? The Thora Birch's character.
Thora? Who? The little girl?
Alpha?
Alpha.
The villain?
There you go.
Ah.
Yeah.
That's actually not Thora Birch, but it does look just like her.
Oh.
I can't think of her name. She was also in Minority Report. She was like the future seer that Tom Cruise had to save.
Huh?
I believe that's the same actress that played that villain Alpha.
Okay. It was one of those. Yeah, she was a photo double.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But still, that's so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
So we could be like, we saw Andrew Lincoln in real life, and
Yeah.
all the yeah.
What season were y'all in? Or could you see yourself in the background?
I think I started somewhere around 6 or 7 and was kind of in and out until like 8 or 9, I think.
That's amazing.
I remember laying on the ground in a lot of dirt and being a dead walker.
Oh, was that the day?
One time. And then there were other times, but yeah.
I was lame. I was in the sanctuary and you only see the back of my head. There was actually there's a cat nearby. There was one time where I was like by this I can't remember what it's called, a thing where there was a bunch of canned food and they literally gave me a pen and notepad and I was so bored that I literally took inventory of all the canned food. And then there was a point where they like film where I am, but I'm crouched down where I almost blend into the background and you can't see me unless I'm like, look, there's me crouched down, like counting these canned goods.
That's so cool. That's so that y'all were already cool. Now your cool factor is like,
thank you. And well, I thought you were super cool because you're amazing and kind, and you've been on all these reality shows and are amazing. They should put you in one of the promo pics for the seasons.
No, it's not being amazing. It's just being a middle kid and starved for attention. And I was like, I'm like Tinkerbell. I need applause to live.
Live, Andrew, live.
Clap if you believe.
Yeah, I have an older brother who is a 4.0 student and a star athlete. My younger sister is 4.0 and smart and creative. And I'm just like the little gay kid in the middle who's like,
oh,
okay, I don't have a 4.0. I don't really like sports. I did find cheerleading eventually, but like, so I'm trying to like diagnose my psyche. Like, why do I do these things? I guess
being a middle child, and it's just like, everything makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
I remember one of my cousins is a middle child, and he usually gets it from older and younger because his older and younger brother team up to like kind of like not bully him, but like poke at him and stuff. And then there was one point where we were having a conversation, and he's like 10 years younger than me, and it's just like, oh yeah, having older siblings can be rough because they can like be mean to you sometimes. And he's just like, welcome to my world. And I'm just like, thank you, 8-year-old, while I'm like 16 telling me welcome to my world. But Avery's the older sibling and she beats up her brother all the time. No. I'm just kidding.
I'm 4'11". He's like much taller than that. So even if I wanted to, which I don't think that would go over very well.
Well, speaking of cheerleading, I have to bring up the moment when you were on the Oh Heck Nah podcast and you were talking about how when you were doing your audition video for your first Naked and Afraid episode, how you do the flips, but then like at the end you kind of like grab at your leg because you like pulled something and were sore for a few weeks.
Yeah, they, producers want to know your like where you come from, what's your backstory. I said, well, years ago I was a cheerleader, but I haven't cheered in 15 years. Blah. And they're like, ooh, do like a backflip or something. They like do some primitive fire, show yourself at home, working on your skills, and do like some kind of tumbling. I'm like, I don't tumble anymore. I'm old. I can do cool flips off the diving board or on a trampoline still, but not on the ground. Like that's over for me. But like I was the new guy, and I was like, if I say no, will they like say never mind? We don't want you on the show. So like I just wanted to follow all the rules and make sure I did all right. So like I guess I'll just do a couple cartwheels, which is embarrassing because a cartwheel you learn how to do when you're 1 year old. I used to do really crazy tumbling. Like I was a wild tumbler. I did some cool stuff. I just can't do it anymore. So I was like, I'll just do a cartwheel just so they don't get mad at me, and totally like pulled a hamstring going down the hill in my parents' backyard.
No.
And it hurt. It hurt for like 3 days. I was like, and that broke my spirit because when you used to like be a tumbler, And then you do the most basic thing. You're like, I'm old. It's gone. It's just like reminding me those days of tumbling are over. Oh God, I'm gonna eat my sandwich in sadness.
Crying to the sandwich.
Quick, go to another question. Go to another
question. Oh God.
Yes.
Oh, another moment that Malou pointed out was when you were throwing rocks to get the worms in Africa, and you make the noise, and you make like a grunt, and it's like and she like imitates you doing it. And I just wanted to know, well, it's kind of a two-part question. Were there any fun moments from your TV appearances you wish they would have kept, and do you wish they would have cut out your yell when you threw the rock at the tree?
Yeah, I remember that when I saw the Mupani worms up there. I'm like, those are edible. I need those. But they were like almost 3 stories up, and they were just in a cluster about this big. So if you can imagine putting something smaller than a basketball 3 stories up and trying to hit it with little teeny tiny rocks. And that's the one thing I said is like, this is one of the things I did not want the world to see is me trying to throw. And so it looks like, I threw the rock 4 times and got all the worms down. No, it took forever. And lots of rocks to get them down. But it was embarrassing. But it's funny too. I think it's funny to see. There's certainly tons of things that I wish they had shown, but there's just not time for it. So much happens out there on Castaways. Patrick and I were looking for food in tide pools, and one of the tide pools there was like 8 puffer fish that had gotten stuck there, and the water was pretty deep. They'd be fine, till the water came back up. But when I stepped in the water, they were just interested in what I was, and so all 8 swam over to me. They were all different colors. Like one was blue, one was red, one was green, one was brown. And I was just like, they look like characters from a Super Mario game. Big eyes, the little things are flitting on the side. They're puffy and fat and chubby. And they just all swam over to me, and I got down there, and they're just all looking at me, and they almost had like a smile. They're just like, hey. And I was like, what a cool moment. This is so cool. And I'd like have all these puffer fish literally like 1 inch from my feet, just like, what are you doing? Who are you? You want to be our friend? That's what they look like. And that was captured, and I just wish, some sweet moments like that made it.
I remember the moment when Patrick was in the tide pool and I don't know who yelled it, but someone yelled crab, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, that became our game called Fling the Crab, because there was our shelter was 200 yards from the surf of the ocean, but there was this little tributary river that came right up to our shelter. And so we would get in there, and there were crabs in there, and we would take turns. Someone would be in the water. If you see it, you just fling the crab up onto the shore, and the other one catches it in a bucket. And not only was it finding food, it also was just a fun game that we played out there, because you can get really bored and lose your mind very quickly out there. So that became our game. And so we just kind of like, catch that crab. We kind of were losing our minds too, honestly, at the same point.
Oh gosh, I can't imagine just look at this paradise. We're surviving here and everything is yeah. Okay, so looking at my questions. Here, I have a fun Naked and Afraid question here somewhere, but I can't find it at the moment. But it was basically, if you could create here it is. If you can make your own Naked and Afraid spinoff, what would your theme be? And who are some people off the top of your head you'd want to make suffer and be on it?
I've got it. So years ago, there was a show, I think it was called The Colony. Don't quote me on this. And it was people, and they were it was like a post-apocalyptic reality show.
Yeah.
So they they set up shop in this like old warehouse, and they had to find their own resources. And then there were actors that would come in, and they were like marauders, and they would try to break in and steal their stuff or kidnap a person or whatever. But they're, for the contestants, it was real life. Like they had to like respond how they really would. And I thought that was so interesting. So it'd kind of be neat to see Naked and Afraid in like an abandoned ghost town, like maybe a ghost town in the Wild West, or an old temple that's broken in half, crumbled down in Thailand, or some kind of old human settlement that's since been destroyed. I think that would be a cool spot to set a Naked and Afraid.
That'd be really
that's
cool.
Awesome. I had the idea because I just finished reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, the Hunger Games novel, and I'm like, I wonder, because there were quarter quells where they had like a theme, and I'm just like, it would be so cool if we could like vote in survivalists to be on Naked and Afraid, like, or it's like maybe someone who's only done like 2-ish challenges and wants to go back, and the audience can like vote for who they want to return or something.
Survivor's done that. Survivor's did Survivor Cambodia Second Chance, and the audience got to vote. And now they had 40 people to choose from, and they got to vote in the top 20, I think is what it was. So that was cool that the fans had a say in that. Naked and Afraid could totally do that.
Yeah, so Discovery.
Yeah, listen up, Discovery. What's fun too is CBS or Paramount has the Challenge USA, which is people from Big Brother, Survivor, The Amazing Race. And I hope they would add buddy games in now that we're Paramount on CBS as well. So maybe the Challenge USA could have all 4 of the Survivor big, Naked and Afraid. Buddy Games, Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing Race. I think that would be rad.
Now I'm just imagining.
I would totally do it.
Oh my gosh. So, I can imagine like you and Team OK or Team Chicago's Best going in there, and you're like, we're an alliance now. We got this. And everyone's just like, who are these buddy games? Let's just underestimate them. And then you go on to like get to the finals.
Big time. Well, plus I was also on The Amazing Race. So maybe I could like combine buddy gamers and Amazing Racers in some way.
Oh, and Alex can join too, since he was on Amazing Race as well.
True.
Oh gosh. It's so interesting seeing people from Naked and Afraid on other shows, because it's like, this is completely different from how I saw you before, and now there's a new side to everybody.
Yeah, people see me with clothes on, they're like, I don't know him. that's I've been on Naked and Afraid 3 times, and even in my community, I'm on local news a lot talking about the experiences, and you don't get recognized a lot because people aren't used to seeing you with clothes on. If I walked around the city naked, they'd be like, that's the dude. That's the Naked and Afraid dude. But,
well, yeah, but
I would also go to jail if I walked around the city.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm trying to. Never mind. Well, at least I try to. Well, when you're in your signature like suspenders, I feel like people might, because every time you go in, you always have on your suspenders. So I'm just imagining you just walking around in like a gym outfit with your suspenders on, and everyone's like, Andrew, and you're like, yes.
Yes.
That is me. That
is true. All 3 of my Naked and Afraids, I started in suspenders. That's fun that you noticed. I said something once. It didn't make the show. I said, like, when the suspenders comes off, that means shit's getting serious because you're getting naked. It's about to start.
Oh no. Now I'm just imagining you in a slasher film, and you have suspenders on, and you have to like take them off for some reason to like tourniquet someone's broken arm, and someone's like,
a lasso.
Take this, Triceratops. I've got you now. Time to ride. But yep, I can see it. I can see it now. Oh, and I also wanted to know, on an Amazing Race, they have an intro sequence with all the team, and for your sequence, it was you and your dad, and you do a flip and then do like the slow turn to camera. How long did that sequence take to film? Because I'm just imagining forever. Like 12 hours or something.
It was the day we filmed that. It was on the football field of my college, where I was a college cheerleader. It was about 102 degrees that day, and I'm in a cheerleading uniform, which is made of polyester. It's warm. And they just had me keep doing backflips over and over and over, which was fine because I've tumbled for years. But eventually, your body's sweating. I'm hot. It's like my back tuck got a little lower, like, oh. I was like, y'all not have this? Come on, like, this has got to be it. And my dad hated it because they just had him sit in a chair. He's just sitting in a chair, and I do a backflip. I'm like, why couldn't he have flapped or done something other than just sit in a chair, like, whatever. Yeah, the turn and look. That's a big thing on Amazing Race. And then to have your name come up, you feel as stupid filming it as you do seeing it.
Oh gosh. I remember I was on a Marvel film, and I was covered completely head to toe in like almost non-breathable material, and like I had to have gloves that were kind of like tied to my hands so I couldn't take them off. And it was in July in Georgia. And they're just like, and they didn't give a shade until the person was about to have heat exhaustion.
Right.
Yeah.
That
Oh my
sounds like
God.
a war crime.
So I kind of understand your feeling of wearing the cheerleading outfit in the sun. I didn't have to do backflips, but I did have to pretend to hit a hunky Australian actor with a fake prop gun where the glue melted off of it because it was so warm. But
Oh my gosh. What Marvel movie were you in?
I don't know if I can say
I
it.
think you can because it's out.
Yes,
right?
you can. And your name in the credits?
No, I'm a background actor. They're never in the credits.
You can say it. That's just a job you did. You can say it.
Okay. Spencer, can you please bleep this out for comedic effect? It was Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, great. That's cool.
Yeah, so you should totally come to Georgia and be a background actor, and then people could be, and you could wear your suspenders, and people could be like, I recognize him.
Like, why is that zombie wearing suspenders? Oh, I know what gay that is. Yeah.
Never mind. Are they filming more? Are they gonna film more Walking Dead stuff here, or like the
Probably.
spinoff?
No
Yeah,
more.
They
Just
own
for
all that
spin-off.
land.
yeah. Well, or I can find a Facebook notification and be like, if you want to be an extra, just come to Georgia and sign up here.
Careful,
Mhm.
the casting directors will recruit you.
Yeah. Oh, and make
Oh
sure
my
to
God.
put location as like Georgia, because if you put it as Kentucky, they'll be like, that's too far away. But there are people who are like,
Yeah.
oh, I love this show. I drove here from Texas. And I'm just like, sir, we are minimum
would.
wage.
I would love to be a zombie. That'd be unbelievable.
One of my friends got to be a zombie, and I think it was the episode where there was like a giant mud pit, and I think the governor was driving a car, and there's just like a giant mud pit of zombies that they couldn't get past. If
Mhm.
that rings a bell, but yeah, they were there, and I'm just like, oh, tell me how you got in. They're like, I'm not telling you, and I'm like, oh, how rude.
Oh, that
But
was so fun.
yeah. So going back to my out of the box questions here's an interesting one because I feel like it's relevant. Would you or if you were to ever get roped into doing Naked and Afraid Last One Standing, what would your survival strategy be? And did you like it?
I liked it. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun to see just a new take on it, but it was still exciting. My strategy would probably like have a really close group of five, which I think Waz and Dan and some of them kind of did. I would probably start with a close group of five, but I would never lose sight that there's only one person left at the game. I would never bow down because I love my friends so much that I want them to win. I would want to win, and I would do anything it takes to win. I don't know if I would sabotage. I think that's going to start happening a lot more in future Last One Standing seasons. I think it's going to get messier. I don't know. I think it would be very easy for me to understand on Castaways or a regular season. I want everyone out there to survive, and I want to survive. So I will do everything to keep us together and unified and work together. Last One Standing, it would be easy for me to turn off that side of my brain and say, now this is a competition. This is a game show. So this is not the same. And I think a lot of people on Last One Standing season 1 had difficulty with that. It's hard for people to change from survivalism is about working together to survive. If it's the true end of the world or you're really cast away on an island, you need to work together to increase your odds of surviving. It's hard to turn that off for Last One Standing. We're like, this is a game for money, but I've already done the Amazing Race and Buddy Games where I was able to do that. This is game decisions. I'm not attacking people personally. I'm doing this because we're all here to win. I feel like some people on Buddy Games got their feelings hurt, and I was like, we're playing to win, and so are you. And I'm sorry that we're not playing to help you win. We're playing to help us win. Like, come on, you know.
Yeah.
But that can be hard for people because you're out there and socially you only have each other to hang out with and talk to and get to know. So then when it comes time to try to get rid of people, it can be hard.
Yeah, and you were never backstabby on Buddy Games. I know, like, the edit with the Derby girls and the pageant queens, it was just like, he said, and I'm just like, but it's a game. They have to sabotage someone. They have to do this. And so it's, I don't know, but Yeah, I can.
Yeah, we were season one of Buddy Games, so we didn't get to look at prior seasons and learn how the game is played. We had to play the hand we were dealt, figured out as we went along. And, at first I thought maybe this is just going to be more about friendship and having fun. But the second he said sabotage when we got there, I said, aha, this is a game show competition. The money is at the end, and we're going to play by the rules, but we're going to play hard.
Yeah.
And, we knew that we might get sabotaged. We were not going to take it personally. We would have, probably teased them like, oh, you jerks. But just like Oklahoma did, they didn't get mad when they were sabotaged. Philly Forever wasn't actually mad when they got sabotaged. Then we sabotaged someone, and they were mad, wouldn't speak to us for a while. And one of them said we had no integrity. So that kind of sucked. That sucked for a little bit. We're like, man, we're just playing this game. We don't really know it, and we're just playing as hard as we can. And then to feel like we hurt people kind of sucked. But it's also like, I guess I was prepared for that kind of stuff, and some people weren't.
Yeah. And it's like, it's $200,000 and we're not like betraying you to the nth degree. Let's not. Yeah. So in speaking about sabotage and all that jazz, what are your thoughts on the Steven and Sarah situation on Last One Standing with the bone trail? Because the survivalists had to go on these bone trails to find a pack and make a certain type of trap, and so Steven was looking for a trail and found his way to Sarah's trail, as it was dubbed, but Sarah lost count of the bones. Yeah.
Let's be clear. It was never Sarah's trail. I love Sarah. I think she's amazing, but there was nowhere in the rules where if you start a trail, you claim it, you own it. So they're all in panic mode. They're all trying to find the bones to stay in the game. So I actually don't blame Steven for that one at all. I can understand why Sarah would feel mad. And when you're eliminated, I've been eliminated on Buddy Games and The Amazing Race, and it sucks. And I think it's very quick to like jump and find someone to blame. Why did I lose? I'm mad. This sucks. This was not what I was hoping for. But I think people need to realize that that's part of the game, and that's not necessarily that Steven did an evil thing. He wanted to stay in the game too, and he played by the rules. He didn't break a rule. So I guess I see maybe Steven's side of it, but I also understand why Sarah was upset. That's an awful feeling. I've had it.
Yeah, because that caused a lot of controversy, because there was the one person where people were just like, we don't like this person, but then Steven did this. How could he? But Sarah did lose count of the bones on her trail, and she said something like, oh, he overheard me in my interview and said I found bone aid. But then it's like, but then he found the thing still when she was like off on the side. I don't know. Or when they were off to the side. I don't know. But, and I also wanted to bring up, because I love the drama, when Steven brought up, he was or someone was asking him about Castaways, and he's like, oh, the people on Castaways don't like me. And then you commented like, I don't know what he's talking about. None of us have ever spoken to him. Has there been any new information to that? Or is it just Steven thinks the Castaways don't like him or something?
I really don't know anything about that. As a viewer, I've always loved Steven. I thought he's funny. He doesn't take himself too seriously. The king of the forest, that's just his style of humor. I like it. So yeah, then he was not on Castaways with us. Someone posted in a fan group. He said, yeah, people there don't like me. And I'm like, I was out there for 21 days with those people. I never remember Steven being, we talk a lot about other Naked and Afraids, but I don't remember any of us ever talking about Steven. So that could have been Bulent or Heather. I don't know, completely outside of Castaways. I have no idea, but I have no idea what he was talking about. And I didn't see that he ever clarified, but I think most of the Castaways think he's awesome. So I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, we need to find Steven and be like, Steven, why are you involved in all this drama now? What's going on?
I know. It kind of, I don't know what it was. It kind of looked like Steven's like, I'm not on Castaways, but I want some of the attention right now. Like, that's what it kind of felt like. But it may be some true beef with, like I said, someone else that I just don't know, something from the past. I wish he would clarify, because I didn't want him to make the Castaways look bad. Like, we're just talking shit about Steven. We absolutely were not. So.
Oh, okay. So if anyone's out there being like, the Castaways don't like him, it is unfounded. There's not enough research.
We have no idea what he's talking about. Yeah.
The myth is busted, everyone. Oh, and or this is kind of the an off the cuff question, but if you were to make a change to like the rules or the format of Last One Standing, what is something that you would have changed to like, because I know there was controversy over the like filling of the gourd thing where Jeff and Gary brought theirs to the water when it said like put the water in the bamboo shoots and bring it back up, or is there anything what kind of change would you make?
I would love to see the format where like one person is eliminated each episode. It kind of felt like I couldn't follow the formula. Like the first 3 episodes, no one went home, and then 2 people went home, and then an episode, no one went home, and then maybe so. I don't know. It was hard for me to follow. I just thought of kind of like Survivor, challenge, vote, gone. That's an episode. Challenge, vote, gone. Like something a little bit more like that. But I also know when we did Buddy Games with The Amazing Race, you're explained the challenge in the brief version. Climb this ladder, do this puzzle, jump off. But then you get the whole extended rules. You have to be barefoot, or you have to climb the ladder one at a time. Your whole team can't go at the same time. Or there's all these extended rules that there's not time on TV to tell them. And as long as you abide by those extended rules, I think you can think outside of the box. And people have on Survivor and Buddy Games and these other shows, they're like, okay, those are the extended rules, but I think I found another way to do this. And then that's fine. Then you can find your way, to a victory by doing whatever, but it has to be within those rules. So I think some of those games, like the water filling the gourd, there was controversy that some people were like, oh, you weren't allowed to do that. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what the extended rules were, but those extended rules that the cast is given just need to be very clear as best as possible. And then if it's not listed in that rule, if you think outside the box, fill up the gourd and do it a better way, then that's on you. You outthought the challenge masters, which people do that a lot.
And I was thinking, like, since this is a show where a lot of people tap, I was like, if they move from one zone to the other and no one is tapped, then it could be an elimination challenge. But if someone is tapped, then it's just like, this could be like a reward challenge where you can get this if you win and less cashes. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the producers are thinking at all.
Does anyone? No one ever knows.
Yeah, I'm just like, I want to be a producer, but I also want to be the nice producer. So I would get fired almost immediately because they'd be like, you're too nice. Stop making Andrew smile by giving him compliments. I don't know. So sorry, I'm just like scatterbrained with all this. I'm like jumping from show to show and just like, but yeah.
I'm sure the audience is like, what shows has he been on? It's a lot. But
speaking of the shows, I noticed that like I associate you with the number 3 a lot because you've been on 3 reality shows: Amazing Race, Naked and Afraid, Buddy Games. You were on Naked and Afraid 3 times on 3 challenges. You were on the 3rd
Amazing Race season 3,
and you were 3rd out, unfortunately.
Yep, 3rd place on Buddy Games. I've never thought of this until you're telling me this right now.
3 is like your lucky number.
Yeah,
maybe. Or unlucky because I lost the Amazing Race in Buddy Games.
Maybe.
True. So just avoid 3. If you're ever on another like competition reality show, just avoid 3 at all costs.
Yes.
Oh, you want me to go 3rd in line? No, I need to go 4th.
Yeah.
But so I know you talked about the casting processes of each of the shows, and I know the casting process can be very extensive because you have to do several interviews and you have to do psych evals and all that jazz. Which casting process took the shortest amount of time and which took the longest amount of time before actually like going in the first time on each show, if you remember?
Yeah. The Amazing Race took the longest. I was in Los Angeles with my dad in a hotel room for 8 days.
Oh, wow.
So that was a lot. Very intimidating. CBS keeps everything so hush hush. We had to check into the hotel name or hotel under pseudonyms, like fake names. And so that was just super intimidating. Of course, I was 21 at the time. And so that was a lot. And you meet in the room with these big producers. I met Jerry Bruckheimer. I met Les Moonves, who at the time was the president of CBS. I'm just a little
fancy
nerd from Kentucky. So I'm just like in the room with these huge Hollywood names. So that was the longest. Naked and Afraid, they flew me to Los Angeles for less than 24 hours. So I flew all the way across the country, had interviews, physical, all that stuff. Got my first vaccination for somewhere I might be going, and then flew out the very next day, like back home. So that was wild because it was so fast. But there was more leading up to that, Zoom interviews and all that stuff before I ever left to Los Angeles. Technically, it was long, but so that was wild. Something not everybody knows is I was a finalist for Big Brother twice, for Big Brother 15 and 16. They flew me to Los Angeles for finals casting for season 15. I was in the hotel doing the interviews with the producers, physicals, all that stuff. They flew me home. Then they called me and said, this was like a Thursday, and they called me as soon as I got home. I was living in Portland, Oregon at the time. They called me and said, can you come back to Los Angeles on Saturday? So less than 48 hours later, they flew me back to Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
Where I had to go to CBS Studios and sit in the boardroom and have another meeting with producers. And I was convinced that I had made the show. They flew me to Los Angeles twice, met with all these people. I started buying clothes to move into the Big Brother house for season 15. At the kind of the last minute, they cut me.
No.
But then they called me. Yeah, I was heartbroken. They called me months and months later and said, do you want to come back to Los Angeles for season 16 casting? We are still interested in you. I said, you bet. So I didn't have to apply again. They flew me back down, took another week of my vacation at work I had to use to go sit in a hotel room by myself, interview producers, physicals, all that stuff. It's actually very lonely, very boring. And they cut me again very last minute because Ariana Grande's brother applied. And Frankie Grande took the token gay spot in season 16.
No!
Freaking Frankie. And I saw him in the hotel. Like, he had on like little shorty shorts and a mink stole and was pink hair. And sadly, I know there's usually one LGBT token spot. There were often back then, there was one or two person of color token spots. And so I knew that it was probably going to be me or this guy. I didn't know he was Frankie Grande at the time. I just knew he was gay, and as was I. And sure enough, he's big and wild, and his sister is uber famous. So I got cut, and I never applied again. So.
Oh, sorry, Andrew.
That's
Hollywood.
Right.
I'm sure in like a few years you can go back to Naked and Afraid, and you could be like, yes, my home. They'll probably want you back. Or they'll be like, audience vote, and it'll be like 99.9% voted Andrew to go back.
Well, I mean, I will say this, Discovery, the network, is who determines who goes back to Naked and Afraid. And they definitely do listen to the fans. I don't think the campaigns work when people are like, everyone email in, or here's a Facebook page I made, please bring back John Smith. I don't think they care about that. But they actually read the fan pages, and it's what the fans are saying, not the survivalists. It's like, do the fans want these people back? That's what matters. And I know, I don't want to break your spirit, but that is the fact of the matter. I'm sorry.
It's fine. I have like so many emails in my inbox. Like, thank you for sending. Anyway. My spirit is broken. Time for character development. Anyway. So, well, this kind of not the me being sad leads into my next question so other than Big Brother, what are two reality shows that you would, other than Big Brother and Survivor, what is the third reality show that you really, really want to be on?
I thought The Raft was kind of neat. That's new on Discovery Channel, where people literally live off a raft and they compete in challenges for money. I thought that was kind of fun. Anything that's outdoors and adventure, I would love. I always like cuff and puff because I'm like, why do I sign up for the hardest shows? Amazing Race is so brutal. Naked and Afraid is the most brutal. Even Buddy Games was stressful. People were trying to get you kicked out. Like, why couldn't I have done like a dating show where I just like live in a mansion and sit in a hot tub sipping champagne talking shit? That would have been amazing. But so when I see people on those shows living in a mansion, like, oh, this is so hard. I'm like, shut up, you big baby.
You need to be on The Circle. So yeah, they're all just in
The Circle. Yeah. My friends here, I live in Lexington, Kentucky. They always tease me at any chance they can. They're like, oh, The Circle's definitely the hardest reality show. Obviously, they're joking because they have beds and air conditioning and microwaves and couches. But they're doing that to tease me, saying that The Circle is harder than Naked and Afraid, which is absurd, of course.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. I remember in college, there would be like certain majors where they're like, oh no, I have to write a 1-page double-spaced report, and I'm like, I have to write a 12-page research paper minimum. Do not say that is hard. So
Yep.
I know you're just like, I was on Naked and Afraid and you're comparing this to a research paper, but that's fine.
In 2001, I flew to England, had a little trip in the Lake District, which is like the upper west coast of England. It's gorgeous. Went up to Scotland, went to Loch Ness. But I flew into Manchester, and that's where the original, the Circle apartment building is. And so my friend who picked me up, I made him drive me to the Circle house so I could see it. And with a big neon light on the outside, and that was super cool. Now I think has now moved to Atlanta. Maybe they're finally filming the U.S. version in the U.S. But even the U.S. version, the first few seasons were filmed in Manchester, England.
So even more reason for you to like take a trip here. You could like be on a Walking Dead spinoff and then shoot the Circle, and then take a little break and then be on more Walking Dead.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, I think they're raising the rate for background, so.
Yeah, I'm sure I would go nuts in the Circle because I'm a people person. I love being around people. My biggest fear on Naked and Afraid would be my partner tapping out and leaving me alone. That would scare me to death. So I think the Circle would actually be really hard for me. I mean, you do get to talk to people, but it's just through a screen. I'm not saying, of course I could do it. You know, it's not going to quit, but I think it'll be really hard. That's why doing Alone, people are like, have you ever applied for Alone? I'm like, Alone doesn't take Naked and Afraid people, I don't think. But I think Alone would be, it seems so easy to me because like they have shoes and a backpack and a sleeping bag, you know, whereas Naked and Afraid, we have nothing. But I think not being around people is what makes Alone so difficult.
Yeah, I think that people on Naked and Afraid can't be on Alone because Discovery and History are like, we don't like each other. So
yeah, but I think they're owned by the same parent company. I don't know how that works. I have no idea.
I just blame money. I don't.
Yeah.
So this kind of goes back to Naked and Afraid. If you were to go back to Naked and Afraid minus Solo, in what capacity would you like to return? Like, would you want to do like a redo redemption, like what Chris wants to do? Would you like a random location, XL, Last One Standing, Castaways again, or just another Naked and Afraid of Love, but you bring Russ with you and you're just like, oh, we're already in love. We're just here for a vacation.
Yeah. I would love to do another Castaways style, which is, it was 21 days. It was a bigger group of people. I loved the foraging and finding of things. A lot of people are like, oh, that was planted and all these water bottles are planted. I'm like, look, we're so used to like going on vacation to Florida or Hilton Head or wherever, and all those beaches are combed and cleaned almost daily by either local government or the hotel or whatever. So we're used to these clean beaches. But if someone stopped cleaning those beaches, even all the beaches stateside in Florida and Myrtle Beach would also be covered in garbage in no time. And we were out on a very remote island, and that trash had been washed up there for decades. Some of that stuff has probably been there for 100 years because there's no one out there combing and cleaning it. So yes, sadly, a lot of that trash was completely real, had just washed up because that's what happens.
Yeah, I remember I did a study abroad in the Bahamas, and I remember we went to this one random island. I just remember just as far as you could see on the beach, there was just garbage everywhere. I think there was like a net on like a massive rock. And so I'm thinking back and I'm just like, oh, this could be where they filmed now I'm just like, they could film the next Castaways here. There's like a net over there. There's some bottles. It's very bad, but
yeah, there was nets all over the place. A lot of them were too tangled for us to use. Certainly water bottles were everywhere. So it was a weird feeling to be like, yay, there's trash. But then also be like, oh man, all this trash. Like you had kind of both feelings. You're like, we need this stuff. We need to use this stuff in some way. But also like, it sucks that we've done this to our oceans,
Yeah. And so let's see. I'm trying to. I
love talking about pollution in the morning. It's my favorite.
Oh my god, it's so not depressing. Wait, go to the next question.
Well, I follow a page on Instagram called the Fairly Lame Podcast, and they talk about like environmental initiatives and apparently how they're like grounding up certain plastic and making buddy benches to put in parks so people can like sit down and make friends or something like that. So I'm like, that's good. Right?
Yeah. Anything to get the trash out of the water, I guess. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, or you could like, if you could punish PAs on Naked and Afraid and be like, clean up this beach. You did something wrong. And then that could like get all the beaches clean, since Naked and Afraid is like all over the place.
Yeah, I know. I had seen people post that, like, I hope after they film Castaways, they made the crew go clean up the beaches. I'm like, that'd be a job that would take several years on this island, with a very expansive crew or large crew. So I don't think so, sadly.
They just need to grow that fungus that can break down plastic and just like throw that on the island as you're leaving and be like, let's get out of here. The plastic is getting eaten.
And hope that fungus will kill the sand flies and all the awful biting bugs there. Oh, those bugs were terrible.
Yeah, when I was doing my study abroad, there was one beach where there were just flies everywhere, and like you get in the water and you have to completely submerge so they don't bite you. And I'm just I can't imagine just being like, oh, no protection while on the same beach. This is fine. But
For 21 straight days, yeah. People were like, oh, you had mosquitoes? I'm like, we had mosquitoes, chytras, sand flies that bite, bees, wasps, fleas. We had all of them. Chiggers that got under our skin. All of them, all at the same time on that island.
Oh, and you also had that another iconic moment where you're just like, I have 5 or 6 ticks on
my little castaway.
Yeah, and I'm just like, when I heard the word tick, I was like, no, get away from Andrew right now.
Yeah. Luckily, those hadn't bitten yet. I was able to just pull them right off, but they were everywhere, and they're disgusting.
I've gotten tick bites. They're not fun.
Yeah. Gross.
And so, going back to my questions. So, is there, or, you've been on these, well, I feel like I've asked this question before, but I'm asking, or I guess this could be a more in-depth. If you were to go back to these I know I asked, like, who would you want from past Naked and Afraid partners to be your buddy games partners, but if you were to go back to, this is now a more general question, which of the 3 shows do you want to go back to most, and who out of everybody you've ever known would you want to bring as a partner?
I would want to go back and do The Amazing Race the most. I did it when I had just turned 21. I was the youngest person to do the show for the first 7 seasons until they did a family edition, which included kids. So I was just young, naive, hadn't traveled outside of the U.S. at all. So I was nervous, intimidated. And now that I'm a little bit more well-traveled, I've been around to several continents, I would feel much more confident in my just ability to get around. So I would love to be able to do The Amazing Race again, whether that's with my dad, my original partner, or bring someone new. But I would love to be able to do that again. And, the list of countries that I've gotten to see, some people will tease you for doing reality TV or even just straight out make fun of you for doing it. But, I'm like, hey, you know what? I've gotten on reality television, I've gotten to fly to places in the US, Mexico, Portugal, Spain, England, Scotland, South Africa twice, Colombia twice, Panama. Like, these are all countries I've gotten to go to because I've taken these wild adventures, and I've loved it. To be able to travel for free, be paid to do it, and see all these countries. I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world, even if people make fun of me for doing them all.
Yeah, stop making fun of people for being on reality TV.
Leave Andrew alone. The light of Naked and Afraid. How dare you?
No, if anyone says, hey, do you want to take this adventure to this random country? We'll pay for your trip to go do it. I'm going to say yes every time. I don't care what people say.
Well, if a reality show asks you to go to Antarctica, then please take me with you.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
One of my continents I got to check off so I can get all 7. So I go. Not naked, but.
Well, yeah, you'll be fully clothed for that one. But
yeah, good.
I feel like after Frozen, they're like, okay, let's not do the cold temp survival anymore, because people were not happy with Frozen at all.
Yeah. I don't know that they'll do the cold ones anymore, and rightfully so. I mean, people to survive, you just want to stick right by your fire. So I think that can lead to kind of boring TV.
Yeah, when I was just like, oh, this is gonna be like 3 episodes as like in between like seasons, and it's like, okay, there's another episode. There's another episode. There's another
Yeah,
episode.
I think it was 8 episodes, but that Frozen was only 14 days long, 8 episodes.
Yeah, but I mean, it was fun to see Jake because he's just like, he gives a look to camera and everyone's like, Jake.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh
a lot
gosh.
of people from Naked and Afraid are one-trick ponies. They have their one or two things that they do over and over and over again. And, Gary eats gross things and says, fabuloso, or poop, poop, pee doop. Like, that's what Gary's got. Jake will just say, like, I'm beautiful and awesome and everyone loves me. And he smiles and everybody does. And like, everyone has their thing,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, yours is the then do it.
Then do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna eventually have a T-shirt made, and people are gonna, only a few select people will be like, I understand that reference.
Yeah, not many, but some will. Yeah.
Yes. And so, so I wanted to touch on this because I remember during a Facebook Live you discussed aftercare after your redemption challenge, and because I there's a YouTuber by the name of Oliver Twix that does interviews with the contestants of America's Next Top Model, and Alicia, one of the contestants, brought up aftercare. So I wanted to ask, were you, or I don't know if I'm allowed to ask this, but I'm gonna, and it could be cut out if need be, but were you satisfied with your aftercare of your 3 reality TV shows? And what are some suggestions you would make for aftercare after doing the reality TV stuff and challenges?
I feel like for all shows, this is not Naked and Afraid. Every show out there, Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing Race, there needs to be a little bit better aftercare for mental health. That doesn't mean that everyone has to say, I is forced to follow up with a therapist in any way, but and all shows have that available. Naked and Afraid does. All of them that I'm aware of, there is a therapist on the show, and you can reach out to them, so that's great. But I feel like everyone could do better. Every show, every network could do better. And I think it's easy to be on the production side, and you'll never actually understand the feelings that the cast is going through. One, in the environment. Maybe it's a stressful game. People are trying to vote you out of Survivor. Or you're living in the wild, Naked and Afraid. Whatever those stresses are in the show, but then afterwards thinking, my family's going to see me fail, or my people are going to hate me. I may lose my job because I did this, or what if the internet hates me and says awful things about me? Like, so there's all this added pressure and fear, and I think that needs to be an ongoing conversation about. How do we help people maybe have a better training? Hey, after the whole cast needs to meet for this training, here's what to expect from social media. Here's how best to respond. Here's what, the bad stuff to expect, and how you can mentally prepare yourself for that by building support groups or whatever it is. Like, it's just kind of like, okay, you filmed it by, and then you're kind of left to dangle, unless you know how to reach out or who to reach out to. And I wish there's a little bit better coaching or direct.
Yeah, because I know on America's Next Top Model, a lot of the contestants are like, I'm still in therapy for that. So I think that it's important to have the conversation of like, look, I know there's a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race who is on season 4 who still gets like hate from it. And it's just like, we need to see like, this is really affecting people, and not all fans will realize like, this is the show, this is highly edited, even though some people didn't say those things. It's just like,
the worst thing that I hear fans say is, well, you signed up for TV, so you deserve this, or you should have known. No, that's crap. Don't let anyone get away with that. That's abusers' dialogue.
I hate
that.
that
Is an abusive statement. That is saying you did something, so you deserve, or you should have known. We're allowed to bully you now. That's crap. You can sign up for shows. You think you're just going to go have a fun time and come home and laugh with your family. Does not mean you're prepared to have people say, go kill yourself, or you disgust me, or you're an embarrassment to your family, or you're an awful person. Like, you just cannot prepare yourself for what trolls on the internet will say. So anyone watching, if you see a fan say, well, you signed up for this show, you should have known this was coming. Don't. That's crap. That's like an abuser saying, well, you knew I was going to hit you, so it's your fault. No, it's the abuser's fault for being hateful and hurtful.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my strong point.
Yeah. We love that. And
the more you know.
Yeah. And then the people who do the bullying, like, you signed up for this, then people are like, well, you suck too. And they're like, how dare you? I'm just expressing my opinion. It's like, well, you put this comment, you open yourself up to this, and it's just like, see,
so you should have known. Yeah. That's the thing. It's my I think an opinion can be like, I didn't like the decision you made to start fire that way. I didn't like the decision in that game. I would have done it differently. That's not where they stop. They stop. You're a disgusting person for making a decision differently than I would, or you're a disgusting person for making a game decision that didn't work, or like then they come at you as a person and not just, I disagree with your choice. Then they want to say that you're an awful person because of the choices that you made. And they also don't know that we have limited information out there on TV. You may know what other teams are doing or thinking or how they're strategizing. You don't when you're there. So you're just going off what you know at the time.
Yeah, or people are watching and, they're clear-headed and you're on day like 16. It's like, oh, they could have just done this to help with this problem. But it's like, but when your brain isn't functioning normally, when you're starving, you're hot, there are bugs all the time.
I'm glad you said that. Naked and Afraid is so unique in that way that people watching from home have never, I would say 99.9% of them have never actually starved, do not know what their brain does when it's malnourished, sleep deprived, and dehydrated all at the same time. Your brain does start to shut down. Yeah. It stops being able to function like it normally does. And everybody at home be like, well, mine wouldn't. I would still know. I would still be able to. No, you're not. You're not better than science. Like science says, your brain stops. Your brain stops to work. That's right. Andrew, what did you say?
I just said my body doesn't need nutrients. I could do it.
Right. They're like, no, I would still think completely clearly. No, that's not, you're not above science. And science says your brain starts to shut down. It completely does. It doesn't think as clearly as it would. It's happened for 16 seasons of Naked and Afraid, and on Castaways, and on Last One Standing, and on all the spinoffs, Alone, Solo. Like it happens to all of us. And none of us were able to be perfectly of sound mind and body when we were dehydrated, sleep deprived, and starving.
Yeah, it's just the things some people say on like Reddit and stuff, and I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, oh, I want to say something, but it just is like,
I don't read Reddit. I don't go there. I'm sure that 2% of those people are great. And the 98 are not. And that is a collection environment for people to be really hateful. So I never went there because I'm a 42-year-old man. I'm pretty tough, but I don't like knowing that people hate me or are saying awful things about me. It impacts me. It keeps me up at night. So I try to stay away from all those things because people are like, you shouldn't be sensitive. Well, I am. So I can't help it. Boulet and I had this fight multiple times. I'd just have a conversation. So we're sitting on the beach. I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of body conscious. I used to be really thin and now I'm husky. And so I worry about that. And he's like, worrying about what people think is stupid. That is stupid. And you are weak because you think of what they think. I'm like, Boulant, I hear you, buddy. I would love to not care what people think about me, but I do. Like, I grew up Southern Baptist, a little gay kid, fearful of being gay in my community. And I just had to be a people pleaser. And I just want to make sure everybody liked me in case they ever found out that I was gay. They wouldn't hate me and disown me. And that's decades of my life in that mindset. So it's hard for me to just turn that off and not care what people think. I do. It hurts my feelings because I make sure that I don't hurt people in real life. I don't want to be a jerk. And when people hate me, it just feels very unfair. And that's a lot.
Well, we like you. I hope that helps. I think you're great. You're one of my favorites. One One of the many messages I sent to Discovery say bring Joe Ortlip, Chris James, and Andrew Shayde back, but I guess they'll never see it. But just know
You
that
tried.
I tried.
Good try.
Yeah, I'll post more on social media. I'll probably like clip a lot of moments from this and be like, Andrew Shayde, he's from Kentucky. We love him. Bring him back, but let him rest a little bit. He's been doing a lot.
Yes. I need a good long nap, I think.
Yes, please take all the
I
naps.
also feel like I've just annoyed people because I had Castaways and then Buddy Games back to back. And I'm always like, yo, watch the show's on tonight, la, la, la. So it's been like 4 months of that. I'm like, I'm sick of myself. I'm sure everyone else is sick of me. Like, Andrew, we get it. Like, but, I also know all my friends like, oh, I didn't watch. I forgot it was on last night because I didn't post. Like, or I get 100 texts. What day is Buddy Games on tonight? Oh, what time? 8 p.m. So I just try to remind people because if not, 40 people are going to ask me.
And it's just like, do you have a DVR? Why are you? What are you? Come on.
Right. I'm like, just get Paramount Plus or Max to watch Naked and Afraid. And they're like, I don't have it. I'm like, well, it's $8. Just buy it, watch the show, and then cancel it. Like, come on, it's $8.
Or what they could do is wait until the season finale, get a free trial, watch all the episodes, and then cancel their free trial.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. You're welcome, everybody out there. Watch Andrew Shayde on his episodes. He's on season 12, the episode Bite Me.
This is something I've never talked about in an interview, and it's interesting. When you do these shows, it's exciting and it's scary, and you travel and you have this crazy wild experience, and then you want to share it with everybody, your friends and family. Like, look at this crazy, look at this shelter I built, or look at this competition we won, or whatever it is. And then you have these people, they're like, oh yeah, I haven't watched it yet. And there's 4 episodes in, or like, oh yeah, I've never seen that show. Or I assure you, if any of my friends, close friends or even auxiliary friends, got the opportunity to go be on TV, I don't care what show it is, I'm going to watch the crap out of it and cheer for them. And that's so cool to me. And it does. This is just my experience, I guess. It does kind of hurt my feelings when people are like, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. No, I'll watch it eventually. But yeah, no, I've just been busy. And I'm like, well, the show's over. It was on for 2 months. And it just kind of, and it's kind of weird. And even my mom, she has a Sunday school class. She has friends in her Sunday school class. And some are so sweet. Like, we're watching your son on Buddy Games. We love it. Aww. But they're like, I know of at least 1 or 2 women who have told my mom, who I know, like her friends who I've known my whole life because they're my mom's friends, who have said, yeah, we just hate reality TV, honestly. Like, we haven't watched it. And I'm like, these are 2 adult women who have known me since I was a little kid and like just refuse to watch Naked and Afraid or Buddy Games because they don't like reality TV. I'm like, I'm not asking you like reality TV. I'm saying you've been involved in my life for 30 years. I would watch it. Like, any of my friends. And so I think it's kind of hurtful that someone is not willing to give a couple hours of their time to see this amazing thing you got to do. If one of my friends makes the Olympics, I'm going to watch. If they make reality TV, I'm going to watch. If they're giving a speech on TV about whatever, I'm going to watch. Like, I believe in supporting and cheering on everyone else's fun moments, victories, successes, wild adventures. And I think some people would just, maybe they don't like it when other people do wild, amazing things, but I will always cheer on my friends and family, no matter what they're doing. If they're happy about it, I'm happy, and I'm gonna paint their name across my face like a football game. Like, but some people like to kind of hurt you, I think.
I feel hurt too. I'd be like, guys.
I feel like the sympathy hurt. Like, you put so much work and effort. You went through all that, and the least they could do is like see something, but to say like, oh, I don't watch it because this, that, and the other. It's like, but you've known them for so long.
Yeah. And I feel like one of the women in particular like goes out of her way to like tear my mom down if my mom ever mentions it or someone else brings it up. And I feel like that's like subconscious jealousy. I don't know why someone would do that. It's outside of my comprehension of why someone's like, I don't watch reality TV. Like, okay, you're not better than anyone else, so calm down, Tina. Just say, I'm sorry, I don't want to support your son's adventure, because that's what it is.
I'm I'm sorry.
We'll stick
People.
Nunzilla on them. I don't.
Yeah, Nunzilla will get them. I just watched the Nun Part 2 last night. It was very scary.
Oh,
I haven't
gosh.
seen it yet.
It's on Max now.
Oh, I usually listen to like the Dead Meat podcast, or I like watch people who watched it, because I'm just like, I like the horror aesthetic, but then I'm gonna like find a character I really like, and then they're gonna be like the first one who gets got, and then I'm like, well, what's the point? And then I'm just like, well, this is really scary. I don't but 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 because you said something about it, I'll watch it, because Andrew Shayde gave me the suggestion. I will watch it.
Yes, the Nun 2 has this scary ass goat demon monster man, and to me it was terrifying. It scared the crap out of me.
Oh, so
it's very fun. It's very fun.
So if you were to be the antagonist in a horror film, what sort of aesthetic would you like to go for? Whether it be goat demon, or just regular demon, or like ghost, or like slasher with like an iconic mask, or like Freddy with the claw, or like what kind of antagonist would you like to be, and what would be your shtick? What would make Andrew Shayde slasher or villain? What we have to
I don't know. I could go two ways. Either I'd be like in a suit and tie, like American Psycho, and be the killer no one ever sees coming, or it would be where the man turns into the monster, something like The Relic. That's a obscure throwback. I read the book and then saw the film. It's fantastic, with Penelope Ann Miller. That's one you can see today if anybody's looking for a movie recommendation. The Relic. It's amazing, and it's this big creature feature. This big monster ends up in this museum, and they're all trying to escape, and it's brilliant. That would be fun, just to turn into a big monster. I'll just eat everybody. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I love movies. My favorite movies are Jaws, Jurassic Park, and Avatar. Those are my top 3. My top 10 include Big Fish and Nightmare Before Christmas and some others. But I realize my top 3, it's all movies where people get eaten. Jaws, Jurassic Park, and even Avatar. There's animals that are eating people and whatever. And I'm like, what does that say about me? I think I do love the man versus nature storyline. That's why I love going out and living in the wild. And so I think that's something about me. I love man versus the wild,
Man versus Wild with Bear Grylls. But you said your favorite movie is Jurassic Park, and I'm just like, Jurassic Park is my favorite movie, and I love it so much that I like to go through and like see like the mistakes that they make, like the scene when the Velociraptor pushes open the kitchen door. You can see a hand from a crew member used to like steady the animatronic and stuff like that. And like when Joffrey falls off the cage for the first time, you can see a hand in the way so the stunt person doesn't fall onto the camera and stuff like that. And so I just like nitpicking, but I also love when the T-Rex comes out and eats the lawyer who abandoned the kids. And I'm just sitting there like, you had like 5 minutes to like go and run into the jungle, and you just like 2 feet away, and it's just like, you know what, you play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I think that's the saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Jurassic Park. I've been a mega fan since opening weekend when I saw it in '93. I used to have all the action figures. I can sit down and write the script like by hand out of my mind. Like I know that movie so well. And all the sequels. I love all of them. So huge Jurassic Park fan. And same thing with Jaws. I'm obsessed. I know every scene, every word, everything.
What are your thoughts on Jaws: The Revenge, the 4th one?
It could have been so good. They spent absolutely no money on the animatronic, which made it corny. And you think between 1975 Part 1 and The Revenge, which was like 1990 or something, they could have put in a little bit more better technology to create a better shark. But it actually, I felt, looked kind of worse than Part 1. And then they made the shark roar, which, spoiler, sharks don't roar. So they made some things, some corny choices. There's still some great scenes in it, though. When the shark eats the mom from the back of the banana tube boat, great scene. There's still some great moments in that movie. The first death scene where the younger Brody son is killed as he's the chief of police at the time, in the boat alone in the darkness at Christmas. That scene is brilliant. It's terrifying and brilliant. So there's really great moments in it. but some hokey choices.
Yeah, I wish there would have been more like attacks, because that's literally the only two unalivings in the movie, was just the guy at the beginning and then the banana boat lady. So
Yeah, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess other people escaped, Even what's his name? The guy with the dreads got eaten, but he came back at the end, didn't he? Mario Van Peebles is the actor. I can't remember his character's name, but
yeah,
I love all those movies. I love them. I worked on the Jaws ride at Universal Studios in Orlando when I was like 19.
Fun. I love Universal Studios.
I drove the boat, shot the shark, saved people every day. It was an amazing job.
Nice.
When I was 19.
Aw, that's cool. I'm like geeking out because I'm like, creature features. I love it. Dinosaurs.
Me too. I love creature features.
Have you seen Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous on Netflix?
I have. Yes.
Did you know that they're coming out with a sequel series called Chaos Theory?
I have the trailer, the teaser of a little. It's like, we're not showing you anything except this guy grew up. That's all they show.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, whatever. But I'm excited to see it for sure.
Yeah, same here. I follow so many like two Jurassic Park YouTubers, and they were doing like trailer breakdowns, and I'm like, Rexy's like stomp 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 roar Darius. That's it. But
that's it. Yeah.
But they made it an 11-minute video, and I'm just like, yes, I will watch the entire thing to help you get your money. Gotta support everyone.
Yeah, I hope this one's a little more, maybe even like teenage, as opposed to like just kids being goofy. The first one's a little goofy to me, but I understand it's made for kids. So
yeah, I think Darius is 19 in this one.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I think that'll be teenagers. But they'll still probably have the plot armor where Rexy's literally like standing in front of them, nowhere to go, and then Rexy's distracted, better walk this way, and it's just like.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Yep.
Camp Cretaceous is like plot armor to the extreme. All the adults pretty much get nommed, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, going back to my questions. So my sister and I are big fans of, or I'm giving backstory to this question. My sister and I are big fans of The Real Housewives, and I was texting her about how excited I was about this interview, and I'm like, oh, Andrew from Kentucky, oh my gosh. And then we get into this conversation about Real Housewives and like the Real Housewives of Lexington. And so I have to ask, if you were a Real House person of Lexington, Kentucky, what would your tagline be? And what would the house people of Lexington be holding in their hands after the opening credits? Would you think?
I don't watch Real Housewives. So tagline, I'm not sure. They would be holding glasses of bourbon. Lexington, Kentucky is the horse and bourbon capital of the world. So around this area and surrounding counties, we make the world's best bourbons. All the bourbons and restaurants where you live, almost all of them are from Kentucky.
Yep.
So it would definitely be, women whose husbands were distillery owners and whose husbands owned horses that race competitively. It could definitely be a show because there's definitely that like Southern horse owner, group of people here. A lot of women that, think they're hot stuff. So it would be interesting, and I would totally be on it. So we'd be holding bourbon, and my tagline would probably be like, just like bourbon, I'm sweet but strong. Can mess you up. So like that. I don't know.
I like that.
I like it. Nice.
Bravo, where are you? Bravo.
Come on, Bravo. Could be Real Housewives of the horse capital or something.
Real Housewives of Horses. But
yeah, Real Housewives of Horses and Bourbon. Sounds kind of cool, I think.
And it would give you a break from like having to do all these challenges and suffering. You'll just have to suffer through like monotonous conversations until the drama happens and you're like, I hear the siren calling my name. Yes, I am here. But even though you don't get involved in drama, you're just like, guys, can we please calm down? And they'll be like, stay out of it. And then they like spill a drop of bourbon and you're like, first of all, don't you dare spill the bourbon.
But yeah, if I start a paragraph with first of all, that means you're in big trouble.
Ooh.
First of all, that means you're about to get it.
Remind me never to get you mad enough to say first of all to me.
You hear first of all, you're like, no, stop, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry, I take it back.
I take it back. I'm sorry. Yes, I can't think of anything at the moment. Yes, or the shady umbrella was a terrible idea. So my next question is, because you are a reality TV show expert, I was wondering if you could tell the audience any advice to those who want to apply to reality TV and like the best way to get camera time. What is your advice for reality TV
camera
people?
time?
Yeah.
One, be yourself. This is going to be harsh. If you're a shy introvert, you're going to have a hard time getting cast on a show, and that sucks. It's not fair, but this is TV. It's television. So they need people who are big personalities, who are comfortable sharing what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what they're going through. So you have to be comfortable sharing that. So if you're like, I don't really like talking about my feelings, it makes me weird, you're probably not going to get picked, and that sucks. But you can overcome that and learn to feel more comfortable, more confident, and talk about what you're thinking and feeling. So you got to be yourself. You got to be real. If you're faking your audition, they're going to know it. They see this crap all the time. Casting for Amazing Race, Buddy Games, they don't care. Don't do a skit. Don't do like, oh, here I'm in my front yard, I'm doing this funny skit to try to make you laugh. They don't care about that crap. Just be yourself. If you're a teacher, send them a video clip of you in your classroom talking about being a teacher. Show your world, not just here's me in a blank back wall. Show your world. Show them what it's like. They love people who have been through something, and people kind of make fun of that, like, oh, you need the sad backstory. That's not necessarily true, but they do want people who are like, I have been through some crazy stuff in my life. Maybe it's amazing things. I was an Olympic athlete. I've won the gold. Maybe it's bad things. I survived a car wreck and my friend didn't. I overcame this, or I fought through this, or I was an immigrant and this happened. Like they love interesting stories. Movies, TV, reality TV, they're stories. That's how we tell stories. That's Hollywood telling stories. So you as a person have to have a story to tell. And again, that doesn't have to be a sob story. It can be a victory story. It can be a funny story. So talk about your real life. If you say, I'm really funny, everyone can say that. Show us. Tell us a story that's really funny. Show us you in your real life doing something that's really funny. Like show them that you're funny. Don't just tell them. And be competitive. Shows like Buddy Games, Amazing Race, Survivor, they want people to want to win. They want people that not just, I'm here to have a good experience. Whatever happens is fine. No, I want to win. I'm here to win. My dream. I want to do it. So be competitive, be yourself. And talk about your real life, things that you've experienced, things that you've learned from, things that you overcame, stuff like that.
Awesome. Yep. So anyone who's listening, take note of Andrew. He's an expert. He's been on several shows, several episodes.
I'm good at nothing in life except getting picked for some reality shows.
Oh, that's definitely not true.
Only thing I'm good at.
Well, it means you have a story. You're a good storyteller to be chosen so many times.
Yeah, I think that's true. I do think it's a lot about being a storyteller. I co-host some local news shows here now, and that's all about being a storyteller. My papaw was raised very poor here in Kentucky, kind of from the mountains. And in that culture, storytelling is the big thing. You see it on this video. I talk with my hands. Mm-hmm. I move around, and I'm not trying to put on an act. I'm not an actor in that way. This is who I am. And I think I got that from my papaw. He was a storyteller. I went up the mountain and the snow was coming down so hard that I could barely feel my face, as opposed to someone like, I love Survivor and it's really, I want to compete because it's my favorite show. Like, that's not interesting. You got to be a storyteller. You got to say, this is what's happening right now. I'm freaking out. Just be like, I'm freaking out because the ocean tide is rising and we need to make a new camp. Like, no, the ocean tide is coming into my shelter. I am going to die. Like, tell the story. And I think, and that means a lot to me. I think that's something that I just genetically got down from my papaw, who at Thanksgiving and Christmas would close his eyes and tell the biggest, grandest stories, and no one would move. You'd hear a pin drop because he was such a good storyteller.
I love that.
And this is why you're a comic book writer, because you have that storytelling capability.
I have a very imaginative make-believe brain. I'm left-handed. I think that means I'm like more on the creative side. So I think, which makes Naked and Afraid scarier for me because I'm out there in the darkness and I visualize, imagine things like a T-Rex coming out of the woods on this island and eating me. Like, I just always think about crazy stuff. It's why I was never a great student. I was I got some A's, B's, and some C's as a kid, but it was because I would be like, I want to get an A in math. Let me focus. Okay, I've really got to learn this. I'm going to listen to the teacher. Okay, today I'm going to get good grades. I'm listening. And then he would start talking about geometry, and I'd be like, what would I do if ninjas came in the classroom right now? I'd probably jump on this desk, do a front flip, and then kick one. And like, that's where my brain goes. And I guess that's ADD, but I've always been that way. And so writing comic books is good for me with that because my brain can bounce on all these different ideas. I'm rambling because I have ADD. So there we go.
I mean, go for it. I love the rambling.
I have ADHD, so yeah, that's just.
So
I'm just like my people. Yes, I know.
I don't, so I don't understand, but I kind of understand. But I don't want to say I understand because I don't have ADHD, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling because I'm so excited. but I mean, oh gosh, I remember when I was younger, I would just randomly go through phases of like, what if there's a Spinosaurus that comes for me? Where should I run to for like to hide from it? And I'm just like, Gabe, there's not going to be a Spinosaurus that's going to come bursting through. It's going to be the Velociraptors, and you're going to see it, and you're going to be like, the attack's coming from the side. Where should I go? Kind of thing, you know?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of kids I grew up around. I had a neighborhood full of kids when grow up. I loved it. They would play sports, and that's really where their brain was happy, playing sports, organized. And I was not that. I was back in the creek in the woods behind my house, pretending Velociraptors were chasing me. And I was always an imaginative kid for sure, and still am. Like, yeah.
So now we need to find a dinosaur film to put you in, and you'll be like, I have ideas. Listen to me, and everyone gets eaten, and you're just like, well, my ideas worked. It's fine.
Yeah. That would be a fun acting job to get eaten by a T-Rex in a movie.
I remember on Jurassic World Dominion, there was a guy who won the contest, and he was the one who Chris Pratt is on the bike and he's in Malta, and then he looks over and there's a random guy on a scooter. Like, that guy won the chance to be in the film. So that's why the editing is
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's why the editing was kind of weird with him, where it's just like, how do you not notice or it's like when you see the shot where Chris Pratt is going and you see the dinosaurs, you don't see him in that shot until they do like a close up and then he gets got. But yeah, he was.
Yeah,
it was.
I can't remember if the Allosaurus or the Carnosaurus got him, but I had no idea he'd won a contest. That's cool.
Yeah,
that's actually hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah,
in Jurassic World, the second one, there's a guy running into a blockbuster at the end, and he gets eaten. And I believe he was the screenwriter for The Lost World.
Oh, yeah.
You hear him, right? He's trying to pulls open the blockbuster door to escape, and the T-Rex gets him. And you hear him. I believe he wrote the script, or don't quote me on that. Don't yell at me if I'm wrong. I think he was the script writer for the movie.
Yeah, I think his name is David Koepp, and he was under, or his title was Unlucky. Insert like inappropriate or word for illegitimate child. Like, that was his name, like Unlucky. Yeah. And I just remember, and apparently that was supposed to be on like people criticizing the writing of the first film or something. And it's like, oh, the T-Rex is eating the writer, like the critics, like taking a chomp out of him. That traumatized me so much as a child, just like his screams, and then like, and I was just like, huh. And then the poor dog, and I'm just like, this movie's terrible. I hate it. It's the worst sequel.
Yeah, I felt like that was homage to Jaws when Pippet, the dog, got eaten, and both Steven Spielberg projects. I wonder if that was a little meant to be an homage to Jaws.
Yeah, I wish the dramatic scene would have been when the dog gets eaten, because everyone's just like, the dog, but then the kid gets eaten, and it's like, well, he should have listened to his mother. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's true. We don't care if the kid gets eaten, just don't hurt the dog.
Not the dog.
And technically, in both movies, Jaws and The Lost World, Jurassic Park, they never showed the dog get eaten. It was just insinuated, right? Like, so maybe they did that to appease all of us dog lovers of the world. So we weren't totally furious.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, when I was upset, I wouldn't be like irate, but my sister would be like, no, the dog slipped out of his collar and the T-Rex just smells him on the collar and is just chewing on it, kind of thing. But,
she was trying to save you. She was trying to save you from years of therapy.
Big sister stuff, just like.
Yeah, and then she would beat me up. She's so strong. God. Oh, and side note, apparently there was a behind the scenes photo where it showed like apparently the T-Rex was supposed to like burst in through like the wall of the house at like the screaming family, because it shows, I think, Steven Spielberg's daughter and then the T-Rex animatronic and then like a massive hole on the side of the house. So that was some behind the scenes stuff that we never got. And there's apparently some behind the scenes photo where Peter Ludlow was supposed to they were supposed to show him falling onto the T-Rex baby's leg, and that's how it got broken, but they never showed that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so that's cool. That's why when he gets got at the end, because the T-Rex bites his leg, it's just like karma.
Yeah.
But
I love it.
But yeah, I'm just like, I know little bits of Naked and Afraid trivia, and I know all the Jurassic Park trivia mostly, so I know a few things.
Yeah.
So I remember I think it was your first Naked and Afraid challenge or during an interview or something, you were saying how you didn't want to, or you were worried about like embarrassing your family or something like that, and how you didn't want to do that. What do you think was the moment of any of your reality TV show moments that you think might have embarrassed them the most?
I think admitting that I had 3 ticks in the crack of my butt, came across pretty embarrassing to people. I thought it was funny. It's what happened. We all have butts, and ticks can go wherever they want. They're bugs. I don't know. So it didn't bother me as much. And but I feel like maybe that felt embarrassing. Like, he's, for a while I was known as the butt tick guy, until I was maybe able to overcome that in my next challenge. So maybe that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember hearing you say that. I'm just like, this must be a question now. I must dredge up all these memories for you.
Traumatize our guests.
Yeah.
I can take it.
Yay. And if you couldn't, I would have gotten the first one and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I retract the question. But oh gosh, or with the most recent episode that came out, because the name of the episode is A Shart at Redemption, and and I'm just like, well, now every single embarrassing moment of any other survivalist beforehand is just wiped away, because that probably takes the cake. And I think someone online was like, we should get them to change it, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, but a buzz is being created over the title of this. The people who made it that title are getting what they want. They're not going to change it because people are talking about it.
Click-through rate is high. Yeah. They're like, that's not every day that happens.
Exactly.
So that's true. That's a good point.
So if anyone's like, hey, you're the butt tick guy, you could be like, but this episode, and they'll be like, that's much worse. I've completely forgotten about everything else.
Yeah, I made a post after I was on season 12. That's where I had the ticks. Season 14, maybe 15, Sam Mosier burnt his penis with an ember from the fire, and that made TMZ as well.
15 episodes.
And I made a post like, I'm handing over my butt tick crown to the burnt penis guy. Now it's your turn to run with the embarrassing Naked and Afraid title.
And I remember that's like the second time I've seen TMZ come out with anything Naked and Afraid related. The first time was when Dan brought tomatoes to the Amazon, and like the biggest like scientific power play of the entirety of Naked and Afraid. He didn't get tomatoes, but like he got like plants, and I'm just like, whoa. And then it's like, this guy got a coal in his nether region. But yeah. I made TMZ on Castaways for the ticks on my penis. So I just remember.
I woke up one morning, I had 40 text messages, and I was like, what happened last night? And everybody's like, you're on TMZ. I'm like,
no.
Ugh, my mom is going to be so proud. Like,
I'm just like, it must have been a slow day, because I'm like, did you literally not see the fight Andrew and Heather had like the day before? Why is this
anything with bugs on people's genitals? The news loves it. They just eat it right up.
Oh,
so
gosh. TMZ is just flocking to every episode, being like, yes, what can we choose today?
TMZ it's news, but the word news is oftentimes doing a lot of heavy lifting because it's TMZ.
Yeah. Like, is it?
Yeah.
I remember apparently one of the survivalist on Naked and Afraid of Love, David was on TMZ. So that's a connection between Naked and Afraid and TMZ. And so it's just like, maybe he was one of the good ideas.
You know, when you go to like a conference or you start a new job, you ever do an icebreaker and it's like, tell two truths and a lie. My truth is one of them is always going to be, I was on TMZ. I'm going to use that. I'm going to milk that for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Like, what?
Oh God, you go into the producers meeting and they're like, hello, Andrew, you've been in many producers meetings, but we're going to be different. Tell us 2 truths and a lie.
Well, I was on TMZ and Steve Harvey made fun of me on his show, and Kelly, who's Kelly Ripa's new partner, her husband, I forget his name. They made fun of us on Castaways. So it's fun because you never know those things are coming. And all of a sudden we get all these texts like, Andrew, they just talked about you on Steve Harvey. I'm like, what? You know, or they just talked about the Castaways on Kelly and
Mark?
What's his name? John, Kelly, and
is it Mark?
Mark, yes, Mark, Kelly and Mark. Her hottie husband. They're a beautiful couple, but yeah. So that's always kind of fun, giggle worthy. Like, oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
And I'm just like, oh, they're making fun of, and I'm just like, well, Steve Harvey, you go on one of these shows, and we'll see how you do. But I know he has to make a show and comedy, but it's just like, oh. Just want to like give little hugs. Yeah,
after the butt tick episode, I was on E, you know, like the entertainment show, and one of the hosts called me a dumbass for going out naked in the wild. Oh. And I thought that was so fun. I was like, I got called a dumbass on entertainment tonight. So that is so cool.
Bragging rights.
Oh. Yeah, bragging rights.
But now I just want to be like, well, let's see you go into the jungle and do it. Oh, you get to sit here in air conditioning. Oh,
well, that was her point, is she would never do it. I was a dumbass for doing it at all. And it's like, well, you're not wrong. So.
But I got to fly somewhere for free.
True. Yeah. But I decided next time I want to fly somewhere, it's going to be somewhere with a hot tub and champagne and air conditioning.
Yeah.
So where's the circle? Do they have all that stuff?
I think so.
My last 3 big trips have been suffering, bleeding, crying, competing. And I'm like, finally, like Christmas Eve, I'm leaving to go to Florida, West Palm and Fort Lauderdale for several days. I'm like, oh, I forgot what it's like to travel where you're not fighting to survive. I can't wait.
I'm just imagining you being like, I'm going on vacation. And everyone's like, naked and afraid challenge, question mark. And it's like, no, guys, I'm going to Florida.
Every single time, like, it's vacation time. Amazing Race All-Stars, Naked and Afraid XL, you know, Buddy Game Season 2. Like, I'm like, no, I actually do things that are not ridiculous reality shows. So.
Yeah, but yeah, now every time I see a survivalist on social media being like going off the grid or going on vacation, I'm like, pics, or I'm going to assume you're doing another challenge just because I know Joe was just like, you know a lot. And I'm just like, I just know what to look for.
Yeah, I assure you, if I say I'm going on vacation and I don't post pictures from that vacation, I'm filming a show, because I will always post pictures from my vacations.
Interesting.
You heard it here, folks.
Thank you for giving away all those secrets, Andrew. Now Reddit, or I remember on Facebook, someone's like, I got this list from Reddit, and it's just like stuff from a future season. I'm just like, okay, cool. Thanks for doing the work for me.
Yeah, people do that. Yep, they'll watch our social media, especially someone like me. I post a lot. Maybe that's sad. I like social media. I love posting things, and so if I stop, then that could be a sign.
Suspicious.
And that's true for most people.
So when you talk about going on vacation to Florida, just you could post the GIF from Parks and Rec where it's like, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
Yeah.
Don't be suspicious.
Yeah. My posts for Naked and Afraid have always been the exact same posts. It's like, headed on vacation, BRB. That's my same post for Naked and Afraid 3 times. BRB.
Uh-huh. So now people are going to be watching your social media being like, when is it going to happen again? We want to know.
Maybe it already has.
You heard it here first. But, oh God. Yeah, if only I could go through all the stuff that I think I know right now, but I'm not going to, because spoilers, and I might have been told that I could get in trouble. So I'm not going to.
You can text me privately afterwards.
Oh yes, I can message you privately afterwards with my theories.
Yes.
It's just gonna be, Andrew's just gonna be looking at dots and it'll be like, I have nothing. But, so yeah, so that is most of the questions that I've had, but so is there anything that you wanted to like talk about, any fun projects if you wanted to plug social media, the comic books you've written, the charity work that you've done? I know you go on the Kentucky news and discuss that a lot. Or just, is there anything you want to plug with us right now?
Yeah, no, I love connecting with people on Instagram. It's just my handle is just at Andrew Shayde, and that's Shayde. I love these adventures. I'm a fan of reality TV shows and these competitions and the survivalism. So I love talking about them. So I love connecting with people on there. I'd like to say I'm probably retired, but I don't know that that's ever true, because if a great opportunity comes up, I'm going to say yes. But yeah, that's all I got. That's
okay.
I was like, and also, no, can't say that. I'll get sued.
Oh.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. It's been really fun. Thank you for hanging out with us on a Saturday.
So much for doing this, Andrew. We appreciate
thank you all. I'm sorry, I just like ate my breakfast. That's so rude.
Oh, no,
that is
you're
so
good.
fine.
You're good.
You can. People are probably like, has he been eating well? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still in like survival mode. Like, I've got to eat this sandwich right now, or I'm gonna die.
Yeah, it's all good. I know.
Yeah.
I remember on a podcast with Alaska from RuPaul's Drag Race, there was one point where she was just like, I haven't eaten all day and I need to have these French fries. And people were like, you were eating and we could hear it on the mic. How dare you eat on camera your only meal of the day? And it's like, just calm down, people.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all good. Thank you so much for doing this and telling all the information and all that fun stuff. We really appreciate you.
We do.
Thank
and have
you.
a great
Thank
rest
y'all
of your
so much.
day and
Yes.
weekend.
You too.
All those things.
Can't wait to see you on TV again eventually.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Never know.
I'll message you.
All right. See y'all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
We hope you guys have enjoyed that. Thank you for Gabe cataloged all of the questions.
Yeah, I unfortunately I tried to make it like, okay, we're going like out of the box questions, then reality TV show stuff, then closing, but we kind of jumped around there, but I thought I did an okay job handling it.
Yeah, I think I like your interview skills.
Thank
that was
you.
a lot of fun. Thank you again to Andrew for chatting with us this morning. Thank you, Gabe, for coming and sitting in the tiny closet. I'm sorry, Fandom Non-Specific Time Machine. That is also a closet.
I love it here. It's great.
And asking all the questions. Oh, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, rate 5 stars, leave us a review, all that fun stuff. Follow Gabe at Gabriel Custic on YouTube. Follow me on Avery Talks About Stuff right here on YouTube, or if you're listening, pop over to YouTube and hit subscribe, because we have video versions of the podcast and also just a bunch of other fun stuff that happens. So thank you guys so much. We will see you in the next one. Flash warning. Wait, we have to go somewhere. People are going to be like, they're stuck. But I guess we've driven to the present now. So
we're already here. So where should we go?
Here.
Well, we're going to go celebrate the strike being over by watching movies and talking about it. And
yes.
Avery doesn't have to watch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2 now. She can go on to other things.
I do. It's just not out yet. I'm probably going to watch, as of right now. I've probably already done it by the time, well, no, because they're going to see this on the next, upcoming Monday. So I'm planning soon to do, cover the Halloween releases that were nostalgia bait that I didn't get to do when it was actually October because we were still on strike. So the new Haunted Mansion movie and the Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Oh yeah.
So those should be some fun videos. It's funny, I had one reality show left before I was like, I gotta figure out new ideas, and it was Elevator, which is something that I loved as a kid. It's this way too gory reality show, this game show where they're it's crazy. It's like if Jigsaw had a reality show and nobody actually gets to die because of legal reasons.
Oh.
It's horrifying. It's like Fear Factor meets some horror slasher movie. I will probably still do a video on it just because we don't have to do strike safe stuff now, but now that the strike is over and I can do anything, I'm like, but elevator.
Yes. For fun.
For funsies.
Sorry to interrupt. Also, make sure to watch Andrew. He's on Naked and Afraid and Buddy Games. Buddy Games, I believe, is on Paramount Plus. Naked and Afraid is on Max and Discovery Plus. And his episodes are Season 12, Episode 10, I believe, Bite Me. Season 15, Episode 4, Bro, Hold My Fear. Shout out to Christopher James being a lion outdoors and all that jazz. And he was also on Naked and Afraid Castaways. All are available on streaming. And if you can find Season 3 of Amazing Race, then you can watch them on there.
Woo! We did it.
We did it. Yay.
Let's go celebrate that the strike is over.
I need to watch The Nun 2 now to support Andrew.
We'll go watch it after this.
Okay.
Let's go do that. That's where we're going. Let's go watch Nun 2. We'll go like slightly back to opening night because I also haven't seen it.
Thank you. Bye. Woo.
Wait.
Oh, yay.